So I told Kirsty, if you shave round it, it makes it look bigger. Anyway, welcome to the Snap UK podcast, week 18. The playoffs are nearly here. This week was incentives week, apparently, where we had nothing to talk about other than how much money Mike Evans was or wasn't going to make. So we get to that. That's going to be fun. There's lots to cover. We've got 7 or 8 relevant games and then a load of not so relevant games.
My Super Week 18 is
Super Week 18.
Super Week 18, my favourite thing.
Super Wildcard Weekend. All that's all one word.
Yeah, for the Super Wildcard Weekend.
Jesus Christ, bloody ridiculous. So,
they got a Japanese promotion company into this, didn't they?
Super Aguri. That was a terrible team.
Oh God, yeah, nice.
Thank you. Just thought I'd get that out. They're not relevant for Super Dry though. That's from Kent.
Are they?
I believe so. They're not a Japanese company.
But all their clothing is Japanese branded.
Yes.
Wow.
But
is it just like cultural appropriation?
Why not? Absolutely.
Fucking hell.
Absolutely. Right.
I'll be furious.
Games with relevance. Vikings and Lions. This was right up at the top of the NFC North.
Bit of a disappointment,
Well, NFC.
really, wasn't it?
In the NFC, sorry, yeah.
Well, it wasn't a disappointment. It was a really close-fought game for a bit, and then the dam broke, and Jahmyr Gibbs just ran in for all the points. He's pretty fucking good, isn't he?
He's going to be fantasy top pick.
He's
next year.
I don't know.
Because it's the 2 running back approach.
Yeah, but he's still scoring a load of points. Name me another running back you'd be more reliant on scoring you 15 points per week.
Bijan Robinson.
I think he's my top.
I think he'll be the one.
Alvin Kamara.
Possibly not.
I think probably next year the number 1 pick because it'll probably be Derrick Henry
Probably.
But I think there's
Saquon, I guess.
I think it is. At least we're going back to a point where running backs can be number 1 pick again.
Yeah,
because that makes my life so much better.
Christian McCaffrey was number 1 pick this
year. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that went really fucking well. Right.
I got 8 points from him.
Do you want to bring David Johnson back? Just to double the trauma.
Yeah.
So Vikings 9, Lions 31. Tell me the last time the Lions were the number 1 seed in the NFC.
They've never been a number.
They have never been that. They've been a franchise since 1950.
Yeah, one of the oldest franchises.
And they have never been the number 1 seed. So Dan Campbell, hats off to you.
I mean,
what a job.
I'm frustrated because this breaks one of the best NFL stats I know, which is up until last year, JFK had seen as many Lions playoff games as you had.
Fair. Excellent.
Nice.
Why isn't there
Well,
more...
I needed that stat like a hole in the head. Yeah. Right, we're moving on. It can't be too soon.
Why isn't there more buzz about Dan Campbell being head coach of the year?
I don't know, but I get the feeling if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, he won't be head coach of the year.
Yeah, they announced it before, though.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't feel like he's going to win it.
No,
but
I completely agree. But you look at everything. It's 15-2. All right, the offense is brilliant. It's led by a brilliant offensive coordinator who's going to be a head coach in probably a couple of weeks' time.
He's also got a defensive coordinator who's brilliant and might be a head coach in 2 weeks' time.
Actually, yeah, you look at
what he's done.
What he's done, and all the injuries they've had this year as well.
It's the defense, to hold the defense
The defense
together.
in this game was amazing.
He hires those guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's a head coach's job to hire the right people.
Yeah.
It's why we slagged off Sirianni last year because he hired the wrong people.
Exactly.
This year he's got it right.
But also, I mean,
Howie's got it right.
Wow, yeah.
Playing devil's advocate slightly, they were in the championship game last year, so you would expect them to have a good level of performance.
Yeah, and he still didn't get head coach of the year.
Yeah, that is true. Because who got it? Stefanski.
It's gone well.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair.
I don't blame any of what's happened at the Browns and Stefanski.
Oh, I don't blame anything on Stefanski, but he got head coach of the year.
I see Stefanski like those old comedies of the black and white era where there's a conveyor belt that just keeps going faster and you can't cope with it. And all it is just bad news keep coming down this conveyor belt and it's desperately trying to stop it.
Yeah. Now, I don't think he'll win it. Because I think Kevin O'Connell will win it.
I was going to say, I think Kevin O'Connell will win it.
And I think it's purely Kevin O'Connell will win it because he's done what he's done with Darnold.
A top 5 pick in the draft.
Yes, but a man who was effectively his career was over. But
I think
I don't agree with it because I think it should be Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think for the accumulation of the last 3 seasons as to what Campbell's done in Detroit, I think for that he deserves it. And Sam Darnold's top 4, 5 pick in the draft. Goff was the top pick in the draft, and he's resurrected his career. There's also, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, but there's other players he's got more out of than I think anyone really expected.
They still drafted Amon-Ra, so they built him from no one talks about Equiminius anymore, So
maybe Brad Holmes should get executive of the year.
Possibly.
Again, you look at that roster and it is stacked, and they make the right moves all the time. Like in terms of like bringing in the right players. We laughed about the culture that Dan Campbell said he was trying to instill within Detroit. We took the piss out of him. Most people took the piss out of him.
Biting off kneecaps.
Yeah, exactly. But they've gone out and found those players that suit that culture and work well within it. And this kind of never say die. Okay, literally is someone gets injured, next man up, plays not the exact same ability, but actually puts the same level of effort in, and that's coaching, that's leadership.
Yeah, I think I was quite an early convert to Dan Campbell, but I still pre-season compared him to Gary Busey.
If there was any man who ate buttered sausage in the league, it would be Dan Campbell.
Fair, that's fair.
We can say about Jameer Gibbs and how the defense this weekend was brilliant.
It was absolutely phenomenal.
In a game where effectively you've got another defensive coordinator who's probably going to end up as a head coach in 2 weeks. He's
not getting many shortlists.
No, I think the Tua. What Tua said about him since, I think he's going to rule him out of some jobs. But what he's done there is incredible. Yep. But he's doing that. What they've done with the remnants of a defense in Detroit is just brilliant.
Any major concerns over the Vikings on the day? Sam Darnold completed 43% of his passes. Now, that was his worst completion percentage since when? It's a very famous when.
The Ghosts game.
Ghost game against New England back in 2019.
Which is also a pretty decent defense.
Yeah. That was 34% that day. But, he was horrendous that day. So, is it just an aberration? It's by far his worst performance of the season.
I think there's a couple of things with it, which is just in terms of they were already in the playoffs, regardless of this game, weren't they? Yeah. I know there was something to play for.
Yep.
But they're in the playoffs. I think they weren't expecting to get the result they were getting before this game. Mm-hmm. I think they'd be very happy.
If anyone had told you pre-season that Darnold would have 35 touchdowns to 12 picks for over 4,000 yards.
And if somebody had told me a Sam Darnold-led Vikings would be 14-3, I'd have laughed at you.
I think it's been very impressive. And where he ends up,
he's going. I think he's going to stay in Minnesota.
I'm not sure. They seem committed to the McCarthy idea, and it's a bad plan. Because you don't know what you're getting.
But no, you've also had him sit in a Kevin O'Connell system for a year, which was what...
But with his ACL missing.
Yeah, but was he that mobile?
I don't know. I don't
believe he was that mobile.
No, he's more of a pocket passer type player.
Yeah.
Not even that. Remember, he was in the Jim Harbaugh Michigan team where he didn't have to pass.
No, he's very good at handing off.
Yeah.
Where's Donovan Edwards?
But as well, they don't want to go and say, well, do you know what, we're going to go with Darnold, because if you go with Darnold, suddenly then McCarthy has no trade value, while at the moment...
I think he does have trade value.
It drops.
There are enough quarterback-needy teams who would probably still give a first-round pick for McCarthy, given the quarterback talent coming into this draft.
And some of the drops.
Yeah, if McCarthy was in this draft coming up, he'd be the number one quarterback.
Yeah, that's where the value lies in a lot of quarterbacks this season. Is there's nothing to pick. You've got 2, maybe 3 at a push.
I'd say 1.5.
Yeah, it's debatable.
When we draft Jackson Dart, I'm going to be so angry.
You probably will. But what you could do is trade for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold at the Giants.
Sam Darnold
You
in
don't need to
MetLife
trade for him.
again.
His
contract's up.
his contract's up.
I wouldn't want him in MetLife.
I don't think he'll.
Bad
Go back,
juju.
I don't think he'll go back to New York, whether it's the Giants or the Jets.
I just wanted to throw that in and see.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vikings. Are they? These two are going to meet probably in 2 weeks' time. It seems
Yes.
very likely. Do we not think?
Now the Packers are Christian Watsonless, yes.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get to the playoffs.
get to the
We'll get to the
playoff,
playoff things. Right, second game up. Bengals, Steelers. Bengals had a way in if they won this game and everybody else fell apart. Now,
The Bengals having the stat line of being number one in passing, passing yards, player with receiving yards.
You got the triple
touchdowns,
crown.
sacks. Yeah.
Oh, Chase triple count, most receptions, most yards, most touchdowns.
Yep. And Hendricks had the most sacks.
Yeah.
And they didn't make the playoffs. That's
No.
insanity.
Finished 9-8. What did they win their last 6 games?
Now, you could argue in terms of parity of the playoffs and the fairness of the playoffs, because teams that are worse than them and have done worse than them are in the playoffs.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. All they have to
got-
do is win
they-
any other game this season.
They were 9-8. Beat the Patriots in week 1,
Yeah.
and they were there. They didn't, and there were other games where they lost where they probably should have won.
Oh, no, but I mean, like, if you take the AFC South.
But this is the thing. We're going to come to
Yeah.
this later. This was a question that was posed. I already know which direction John is going on this because we had a chance to speak about it. But there will always be contention with a playoff system which comes from multiple divisions. But ultimately, did the Bengals do enough this season? No. That's it. Like
Yeah.
they,
The offense did enough, but the defense.
yeah,
doesn't.
they've got rid
And
of the defensive coordinator already.
Yeah.
Zach
So
Taylor
do you know,
has to get in the playoffs.
I
next
don't think
year,
that's a
although
fair
Tom-
firing. Like he's been there the last 3 years. This year, look at like the lack of talent that they've got on that roster. Expecting miracles out of him.
And also,
Like-
you've taken an all-pro safety out of there.
Exactly. A lot of
What was
their
the chap's name?
Jesse Bates.
Jesse
Bates,
Bates.
yeah. A lot,
No, the coordinator.
yeah. Lou Amorari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of their talent is people they brought in.
Bless you.
They brought in through free agency. They don't draft. They don't seem to draft good defensive players.
No.
It seems to be a struggle. The thing is, from what I gather, Lou, whose name I can't pronounce, is already being contacted by 3 or 4 other teams
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
people want him.
He's created some really good schemes. He's just let down by talent.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. So we'll get to it with the coaching hires. But when you release a coach, if that coach is wanted immediately by other people, you really have to question what you've done.
Yeah.
Like Jared Mayo, we know, was gone. We'll get to it. But you've heard no one go, oh, we'd really like Jared Mayo next season. So
It's the same with
I mean, I've
Tennessee.
heard John Gruden promoted ahead of him at the moment. That's a problem.
It's the same with Tennessee last year with Vrabel.
Yeah.
As soon as he was fired, everyone's like, "Well, he's the number 1 choice for the next job."
Yeah, and it seems crazy. Sometimes they're a little bit too quick. Sometimes not quick enough.
Sometimes they just blame the wrong people.
The Steelers going in on a serious slide, though. They've lost their last 4 games of the season.
I've seen several arguments for Justin Fields to come back in.
No.
I would happily make those arguments.
Yeah,
I don't really. You had about a 3-week stint where Russell was clearly better than Justin Fields, and that's it.
I think that's really fucking harsh.
Go on.
They were what were they 3-2 when they dropped
4-2,
4-2.
Oh yeah, great. And then
10-7.
10-7, and their last weeks have been. I mean, the Bengals. You know, they've kept the Bengals to 19 points. The Chiefs,
Russell Wilson did that.
the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Eagles. Like, you know, that's really the 4 toughest teams you want to be playing against right now.
What did the Chiefs do this week?
The first 3 games, Fields beat the Falcons, the Broncos, and the Chargers. That's 2 playoff teams.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
I
much
don't
of a
think-
gap
I don't
between them
think-
at all.
I don't think you're gonna gain much. I think like what you're gonna gain by getting Fields, probably a bit more movement
And a bit less accuracy.
and a bit less accuracy.
I don't think it's on the quarterback to be,
No.
to be fair. And I joke about it, but we've seen nothing from George Pickens the last few weeks.
Well, George Pickens, that's the reason why
Yeah.
George Pickens has given up.
Given up. He's gone completely off the radar. He had 1 reception for no yards.
When George
Saturday.
Pickens is seemingly, motivated,
He's brilliant.
he's a top 10 receiver.
Yeah.
He's also one of the top 10 dumbest players in the league.
Yes.
And now
That's probably the stiffest competition in the league. You know?
yeah. It's
But he's up there. He's wasting talent.
Yeah.
But what is it about the Steelers? I mean, they pick receivers who end up being dumb as shit. Because this is not the first, second, or third time they've done this. So It does seem to be like Antonio Brown.
No, I mean, to be fair, Burfict has a lot to answer for Antonio Brown's current state.
But they did. You're right. They went through a period of drafting.
Who was the fella that was there on the other side of the field when Brown was there? Was also completely loco.
Martavis Bryant.
Martavis Bryant.
Yeah.
Like
Smith-Schuster.
Yeah,
Nutter.
like it just seems to be a Steelers thing.
They're all really talented.
Yeah,
and I think I've said this before in the past. Tomlin doesn't get enough credit for controlling a lot of their egos. Occasionally, some of them slip. It seems that George Pickens' ego and
he got a second-round pick for Claypool, who is
which
now
is, now out of the league. Where is he?
He's in Canada, isn't he?
I think he's gone. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the name of that test they do during the drafting process?
Oh, the Wonderlic.
The Wonderlic. They should do a Rorschach test as well when they go to that franchise.
So Najee Harris, I mean, he had 1,000 yards this season, but he was a non-factor really in this game, 36 yards.
I don't understand how he's getting 1,000 yards, because we never talk about it.
He's had 1,000 yards every season.
Yeah.
How?
Sneaky. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't understand it.
I was arguing this with Paul the other day when we were watching the game because I don't think 1,000 yards is the bar we should be judging players by anymore.
Right. What do you think it should be?
Well, more I don't know, 1,200 or something like that, because but there are more games. But you look. No one's looked at like Tracy, the running back for
Tyron Tracy.
yeah, for the Giants.
Not Tracy.
Tracy.
No.
But yeah, no, like you're looking and thinking, well, there's a good player there. He got 1,000 yards.
If we released him, there wouldn't be a line of people going around the block for him.
No.
Like neighbours. Once again, got 1,000 yards with very little at quarterback.
So
I don't think. I think as the league increases,
16 running backs this year had more than 1,000 yards.
Yeah, half starters.
Yeah.
But a lot of that as well is down to the fact that the league has gone back to rushing the ball more. It definitely has.
Yeah,
there's a lot more.
Yeah, but I'd counter that. It's like there's more running back by committee as well.
Yeah, that's true. But I think teams are better at scheming for it. So it's a bit like, I think the same about cricket, right? We still judge players by hundreds, but now everyone's using these massive bats and smashing it all over the place. You get a lot more people getting hundreds, especially in the one day and quick formats of the game. Yeah. And yet you're still judging them on that stat. The problem is it's a nice round stat to judge people on. It's very difficult to change away from that.
And you mentioned Najee Harris being surprised he's got 1,000 yards. This is another name I'm surprised got 1,000 yards. Rico Dowdle at the Cowboys.
Yeah. But again, nothing else.
1,079 yards.
It was Rico Dowdle or Fat Zeke. That's it. That was your choices. I'd rather hand the ball off to Paul.
Fat Paul.
no, just Paul. Just Paul.
Yeah.
I'd be playing fullback at my size.
I don't know what the metric I would suggest is.
Should it be yards per carry?
Yeah.
It should be like now everything is strike rate.
No, but the NFL won't do that, because if you go yards per carry or yards per game, the number one running back of all time is O.J. Simpson. Which means because he's running back, his yards per game is 143 from his record year, whereas it's easy to go, well, Landon
Eric
Dickerson is like the number one because he got 2,200 yards, whereas they don't want to bring up O.J. Simpson, so it will be on rushing yards rather than per. I
never understand when leagues try to erase things that have happened, right? So at the time he was in the league, he wasn't a dick, right?
No, he was a good player.
Right? So why are you trying, like, you can put the little caveat next to it that says, we don't talk about O.J. Simpson. But if he set records,
He didn't murder her in a Bills uniform.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, I don't know. It's difficult to give an example because I can't think of someone who's so good and then so removed from that. But they've had it in baseball with, what's his name? Pete Rose didn't get in the Hall of Fame because after he was
gambling.
Gambling. And you're like, yeah, but he was still awesome. Like, those two things are both true.
Oh, but I mean, also it depends on the severity of what's happening. It's a bit Chris Benoit, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of, although he was still active at the time. This is the thing with OJ, he'd gone. Like, it's another life. So
but he was commentating on the sidelines at weekends. He was still involved in the game.
Yeah. I don't know,
it's a tricky one. If that was a reason for them not to maybe embrace a stat, it feels very clunky. Like, anyway, so
bring us back.
Moving on.
But
So,
I mean, if I could just stay there for 1 second.
Go on.
It's not exciting, is it?
You're not
1,000
exciting.
yards is exciting because of that round figure, isn't it? If
Are you exciting because of your round figure?
Well,
Claire? She says no.
it's it's 143 yards per game isn't exciting as a stat, is it?
Amount of games over 150 yards. That's the stat.
You see, I hate those ones because I always feel like they're, when like a stat feels made up to suit
I'm
things.
trying to fucking.
I know,
He's trying to help
I know,
you.
I know,
Anything
but-
that requires me to use maths is not going to be a stat. Right.
Move us.
Moving on. So, in order for the Bengals to stand any chance of getting in, which they didn't because they didn't win enough games, they needed the Broncos to lose to the Chiefs. The Carson Wentz-led Chiefs. Carson Wentz turned up looking like a detective from the 20s and led the Chiefs to precisely fuck all as they absolutely shat the biggest bed of the season. Now, it didn't matter to them. They didn't care. But this very much looked to me like a team that went, oh, we don't want to play the Bengals.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I think the Chiefs did the whole of the AFC a
Of
massive
course they did.
favour.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
brilliant. They laid down
Yeah,
and
fuck
absolutely
this shit.
took a pasting from the Broncos.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, by the way, was my preseason choice for Rookie of the Year. Now, I know he's not winning it, but what else would you want this guy to have done this season?
Oh, he's brilliant.
It's less
Yeah.
flashy than some of the other, but come on now. He's been brilliant this year.
Couldn't agree more.
If you were to ask me to choose between Nix and Daniels, I think the only reason I'd go with Daniels is Nix has a better line. He doesn't get pressured, but what he does with it is fucking spectacular.
The reason I'd go with Nix in that same argument is I reckon he's got more longevity than Daniels.
I absolutely agree. But right now, you
Right now,
can
they're
only
both
judge
playing
them on
at-
what's in
yeah,
front
they're
of them.
both playing at a
They'd
high
be
level.
neck and
Yeah.
neck for me.
I don't think I wouldn't pick either for my Rookie of the Year.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out who you are picking. For
Later.
Yeah, another day. But I don't feel like I made a poor choice. Put it that way. I was been very
No,
impressed.
I think he's been brilliant.
So the Broncos are in for the first time since winning the Super Bowl in 2015. That feels like forever.
That's a
Let's
long
not
time
forget,
ago.
since then we've had Brock Osweiler go and come back to the Broncos in that mega deal to the Browns. Remember that?
Yep.
Brock
Yeah.
fucking Osweiler. Brocktober. We had Brocktober.
Joe Flacco was a Bronco as well.
Joe Flacco was a Bronco.
Teddy Bridgewater,
Drew Lock.
came in, man's retired and
Yeah.
come back.
Peyton Manning's in the Hall of Fame now.
Trevor Simeon, Paxton Lynch.
It's a good year. It's a good year for new owners.
Well,
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, fair. It's not good for you for old owners.
no. So, Broncos, do you want to play them? I mean, we're
No.
going to talk about the playoffs, but look, this was a game that was open for them to win, and they crucified the
they
Chiefs.
got the Bills, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think this might be the best
I think
game
it's
of the
good.
I mean, I'll
Great
tell
game.
you right now, if a team is going to fall over,
It's the Bills.
it's the Bills. They could fall over to this team. Paul's looking at me like, I'm going to take your money on that one. but I'm just saying, like, if there was no one wanted to play the Bengals, now no one wants to play the Broncos.
I wouldn't want to.
You just don't want to.
They're a good team. Like I said, they're
And-
good on defense. They're great offense,
Do we have to
I
give
think.
Sean Payton some way
Absolutely.
in the
Yeah.
Coach of the Year award? Like, if they
Potentially, yeah.
if
Only
they
if Kevin
don't,
James accepts it.
but look at what he's done.
I think as well, we're going back to the previous team. That's the Steelers' loss of form throughout the season has cost them a game against the Texans, which is what you
Yeah.
want. That is what you really wanted to play because they are
The
appalling.
Chargers are massively lucked out there.
Yeah, but no, I don't think anyone wants to play the Bills, but no one wants to play the Broncos either. Like, it could be an absolute shootout. This,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game.
yeah.
Where are we watching it? That's what we need to arrange after this.
Yep.
Because so far, no plans. But
It's the
I'm-
only UK accessible game time-wise as well,
Yeah.
isn't it?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. You got the 9 o'clock ones on Saturday, and there's another 9 o'clock one on Sunday.
Yeah.
For like normal people.
you'll be in bed by then, won't you, Paul?
I'd be worried for this game.
Okay. Another game that had playoff implications. Somebody got win the NFC South.
It was fucking brilliant.
Saints.
We can't have to do these two games, these two NFC
Yeah.
South games in like.
Well, okay, so
concurrently, don't we?
you got Saints versus Bucks and Panthers versus Falcons, right? And
Neither of them wanted.
It
It just
like-
seemed like nobody wanted to win.
Literally the funniest thing.
it was just bizarre. As these games went back and forth, and everyone was fucking up. The Bucks they were just terrible in the first half. They were so bad. Now we're going to
Spencer
get
Rattler looked like actually pretty
so
decent.
this is one of the things I'm coming to. So we're going to talk coaching in the second half of the show. There's a big thing about coaches wanting to come to a team that have already got a quarterback.
Yep.
Have the Saints now shown us in the last few games that it's Spencer Rattler?
No.
Do you not think?
No.
It's not Carr. So
I don't think it's Spencer Rattler. I think he's had a couple of good games.
who are they going to pick in the draft? There's no one there.
I'll get a free agent.
Yeah, and is it going to be? It's going to be Kirk Cousins, and by this time next year, you're going to be talking about Spencer Rattler.
I'd take Kirk Cousins over Spencer Rattler.
I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't. I know he's not perfect, but I still think he's going to be playing this time next year.
Perfect. He's had a couple of good games, granted, but then so did Will Levis last year for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and then they gave him a go, and you find out. But they can't. I don't think they're going to play Carr again.
I don't think they can afford to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Well, I hope not, because I like Derek Carr.
Shock. Saints and salary cap.
Yeah, well,
They are 50 million over the cap.
So they're always 50 million over the cap.
Derek Carr's dead money is 50 million.
Yeah.
But surely they just, at this point, they're not hiring draft strategists. They're hiring like a wizard.
I literally don't understand how they're always over the cap. Anyway.
Bucks won this game 27-19 over the Saints in what is fair to say was an up and down game. 3-3 at the end of the first quarter, and then the Saints led 13-6 at the half. Basically, the fourth quarter, 14 points the Bucks put up without conceding, and that's what won them the game. But they also allowed themselves to pull off the classiest move of the year.
It was brilliant.
And we were all sat in different places at the time. I guess John and Paul, you may have been together, but for the most part, we were sat in different rooms, all going, "Oh my God, Mike Evans needs 5 yards, and they've only got 14 seconds left on the clock."
Did you see what Baker Mayfield said when Bucky Irvin ran in that touchdown?
Yeah, shit. Yeah. I'm going to be the guy that didn't get Mike Evans 1,000 yards. So, to Todd Bowles and the team's credit, they could have gone out and knelt down in the last few seconds of the game, and they didn't.
Yeah, I don't think the Saints begrudged them that.
No, they did.
I was going to.
The head coach had come out and gone. He was supposed to be double teamed, and he was furious when he made the motion, and the bloke didn't follow him across. So the interim coach, I think, would they're not.
See, Darren Rizzi wouldn't give up the points, but the players,
but I think
the players would be like, "Ah, man."
They weren't begrudging the fact that they didn't kneel.
They don't begrudge him, but they really want.
It's partly because it's Mike Evans who's really popular. Yeah. Again, it's not Antonio Brown. Everyone goes,
I was going to say, do you think there's anyone that watches the NFL or in the league that wasn't happy that Mike Evans got?
There was an audible cheer at our house. We jumped off the sofa.
As well.
He tried to explain to Amy why these 5 yards are important.
That's cost me $3 million.
Well, I was trying to explain to Amy why this is important. I was like, it's 11 years in a row. And in the end, I had to break out that, "Do you know who Jerry Rice?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, Mike Evans could be as good as Jerry Rice." She was like, "Okay." She was all on board. And when he got 9 yards in the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
And look, I was delighted for him. It was brilliant. And the way the whole team celebrated was great.
Yeah.
More importantly, the Bucks got themselves into the playoffs. They won the NFC South. Partly because in the other game, the Falcons got to sort of Chiefs level of shit in the bed here. Like, this game was there.
So before we get there, I'd like to talk about 1,000 yards as a stat. No, go ahead.
Well, this is another thing. So Bryce Young, I believe, has cemented himself as the Panthers quarterback.
He's that guy.
Since his benching and return, he's been absolutely everything you could ask out of a rookie quarterback. This game went to overtime because the Falcons had the chance to win it and just didn't put the game away. It was absolutely crazy that they couldn't basically do enough to put the game away.
Saints and Panthers both 5-12.
Yeah,
I know which team I'd prefer to support.
Oh yeah.
You've never taken the Saints.
No,
they are now the.
But the Panthers are probably the 5-12 is a shit record. But I reckon every Panthers fan is going, "I'm now really excited for 2025."
Yeah. They should be.
And but before that Bryce Young's finally came of age, I'd be like, where's he going to be traded to? What are they going to do at quarterback position? What's going to happen to Dave Canales? Is he going to be one and done?
Yeah.
Is this going to be another Dave Tepper nightmare? Like, if there's one franchise that seemingly has completely about turned within the season, I think it's the Panthers.
Yes.
I think so too. Bryce Young's best game in accounting for touchdowns. He had 3 passes for touchdowns and rushed 2 in as well, which, to be fair...
He looks like he's enjoying the game.
Yeah, he suddenly looks like he's playing like he was in college.
Yeah. The one of the thing where they got the footage of him celebrating.
Yeah, he just threw the ball and just turned around.
That was fucking class. And it just... we wouldn't have seen that 6 weeks ago, let alone 8 weeks. Like,
he's got confidence in his own ability,
Yeah.
and he's using that.
It's brilliant to see it turn around.
Bring in some line support.
Yeah.
Just bring in some big fat bloke on the line.
Now, here's the converse conversation. Another reason why the Saints are now comfortably the worst division is the Falcons also have their quarterback for next season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michael Penis Jr. has been really good since he came in.
Some of the
I might
throws.
even graduate him to senior now.
Senior Penis. Senior Ding Dong.
Senor Ding Dong.
Greatest quiz team name we've ever had. And the woman that read it out didn't crack even the slightest grin, did she? Nothing.
No.
Nothing. We were very sad. Giggling away in the corner like a pair of girls. Right, but Penix Jr. has been like everything that they wanted him to be. It's a little bit, don't jump on me for this, the comparison isn't exact, but you remember when Mahomes sat all season, then played the last game of the year, and everyone went, oh, he can play. Well, it's not dissimilar. They sat him for most of the season, brought him in and gone, oh yeah, he can play.
Probably brought him in too late, really.
I was about to say they must be going,
If you brought him in 2 weeks earlier, they're in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Absolutely. But you can't say it's been bad. He's 775 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks for the season. But this team isn't great, but suddenly he's getting production out of Drake London.
Drake London looked an
147
absolute
yards.
beast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the Panthers, admittedly, who are officially the worst defense of all time.
187. Yeah, the Panthers conceded the most points ever.
Yep.
Now that's mad. I didn't realise that was a thing that was even up for grabs.
No. Oh, I did. I saw them.
I did not know that.
But yeah, just great. But any record's great to see, even if it's a shit one.
But the reason I mentioned before today we started that I would be looking at Bijan Robinson as my number 1 fantasy quarterback next year. 170 yards in this game, 2 touchdowns. He's really growing into it because now all of a sudden you've got to account for the Falcons' passing game.
Yep.
Suddenly there's space for Bijan to be Bijan.
Penis can move, and you have to account for penis.
You do have to account for
You have to
mobile
account for
penis.
mobile penises,
And
yeah.
it does.
It makes a difference. You're right.
Does.
It does help in the running game.
But Bijan looks like a first-round running back.
All of a sudden.
Yeah,
Definitely. Look, so this was an unfortunate result. This is Falcons' 8th consecutive losing season. It was either 7 or 8. I think it was 8. Basically, since they went to the Super Bowl, they've been crap.
It's a heck of a hangover.
Yeah, it is a bit. They have hope.
No.
They have hope, but the division is going to be.
They always seem to have hope, though.
Yeah.
I feel like the last few years, it's been like, all right, this year they look like they got everything.
It feels like the Broncos, where we're kicking.
Yeah.
They're one move away. They're one move away. They're one move away, and then eventually they have to burn it.
Yeah.
Bring champagne in. And,
completely agree.
I like it. I like what they're doing, and the division is always going to be winnable because nobody else is racing away with this division ever.
I think the Bucks could get better.
Of course.
But genuinely, I think they've got their quarterback. They've got a good defense. They've got a good running game. I think there's been a lot of development this season within the Bucks team.
I worry
they've got some good young players.
I worry if they lose Cohen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That it's the 3rd season with a new offensive coordinator, and what Cohen's done this year has been nothing short of brilliant.
Yeah,
because in a year where they lost, they lost Godwin, they lost Evans for 5 weeks. Bucky Irving, they've gone from the worst rushing team in the league.
They've never really had a rushing attack.
No. Not even during last week since Muscle Hamster.
Yeah, exactly. Not even since the Brady years.
Yeah, last year they were officially the worst running offense in the league, and I think they're 5th.
Yeah,
you don't get turnarounds like that, and it's not just Bucky Irving's good, but it's not just the fact that it's Bucky Irving; it's the scheme.
Yeah. Quickly before we move on from the South, so the Panthers conceded the most points of all time and did not finish bottom of the division. The Saints finished bottom. They had equal records. The Saints finished bottom. Do you remember where they were after week 2?
They were top.
They were top.
With the most offensive.
96 points they scored through the first 2 weeks and have absolutely shat the bed ever since.
One of those games was against the Panthers.
Sure. Absolutely.
And the other game was Dallas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They did have 1,000-yard receiver Chris Olave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which they don't have anymore.
I know, but 1,000 yards doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
Don't forget, in week 2, Kamara scored 4 touchdowns and had 180 yards total.
I know, for fantasy, he's been great this year.
It cost me. He was injured for the final, which really cost me. Fucking bastard.
He was injured for my whole season. I had him.
Right, couple of games to go with
It was just shit.
with good relevance. Good relevance. Right.
relevance.
Ravens Browns. This was relevant at both ends of the spectrum because the Browns, tanking mode, decided to start Bailey Zappi, then brought in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, then went back to Zappi, and basically just juggled around.
So I see DTR as a DNR.
That is brilliant, and DTR is dreadful.
I don't see any confidence in him when he's playing.
Oh, he's not an NFL level quarterback, and neither, it turns out, is Bailey Zappi, who also looked out. I believe his first pass was an interception.
Yes,
his first pass as a Brown. I mean, that is the most Browns thing. That's 40 quarterbacks they've started since 1999. 40.
they've got their guy for next year, though, haven't they? Because they can't afford to get rid of Watson.
He won't play.
He's suffered a setback, apparently.
That's lucky for them, isn't it? There's no way that he is the starting
Stefanski leaves the room. With
I feel for Stefanski. I
Do you know what? If Stefanski just turn around and go, nah, fuck this,
Yeah, I'm
resign, I'll be like, yeah, fair play.
Think about what Stefanski had to do with a team like the Bears.
Yeah,
Like, that's what they need.
I still think he might go. I don't blame him.
I don't know why you would
But
stay.
I think it'll be him walking.
Yeah.
Rather than him getting fired.
It might be like a Vrabel thing where it's too late, but he comes back, he leaves, and he's like he's the top coach for
look
next
at what
year.
Stefanski's done with the Browns. That's what the Raiders need.
Yeah.
Like, so
think
he's going to suffocate there, basically.
He is, and I think if he did leave, I don't think he'd go to the Raiders. I think he'd be so careful about the ownership group he went to work with next.
I'm Mark Davis, bye.
Yeah. No, you're all right, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, but like again, like we were saying earlier, if Stefanski walked away from the team, who'd be the number 1 coaching hire in the league? Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
It's not on him.
No, absolutely
Now,
not.
that said, they definitely tanked this game.
Yeah.
What have they got? The 2nd overall pick now?
Yeah,
Yes.
second.
Yeah, just behind the Titans.
Now, if I saw any franchise doing the Shadur Sanders coach prime,
Yeah.
that has Browns written all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen.
I kind of hope it does because I fucking hate the Browns at the moment. They've gone from being plucky underdog
Yeah.
to just franchise. I just made all the wrong fucking moves.
Yeah, they're not likable in any way.
Their points differential this year is worse than the points differential in their own 16th season.
The only good thing about them this year was when they played Jameis. And then
And
they
then
went,
stopped.
oh no, we're entertaining. We're not doing it. Now, I know he was throwing picks as well as touchdowns, but it was entertaining. The
At
product
least he
was
throwing
fun.
touchdowns.
Fuck me. Like, and the problem with that is they went, oh, we might end up with a pick in the top sort of 10 rather than the top 2.
He's making Jerry Jeudy look good. Take him out.
Jerry Judy's had a good year.
It's the same reason as Flacco. He's too popular.
Yeah.
The fans don't. The fans will want to see Jamie, even if he's fucking.
And the ownership want to get Deshaun Watson back. They're paying him a shitload.
Exactly.
He will never start from them next season.
No.
I really don't think he will.
I think they're going to carry on with this whole injury thing and then claim his salary as part of an insurance.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is probably the right thing to do.
I did see a tweet this week. Someone because whilst the games were going on, Deshaun Watson was having a picnic with his girlfriend at the beach, and someone tweeted,
So he's got a girlfriend.
"Yeah, someone tweeted, oh, it's really hard to dislike this guy." And I was like, "You couldn't believe how easily I dislike this." Like, I'm sure it's a Twitter troll.
I have to wake up 30 minutes earlier every morning to build in the time to dislike him as much as I do.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
So Ravens locking up the AFC North with this one. Amazing to think that they needed to do it in the last game, but they did. 35-10 over the Browns. It's a shellacking, and rightly so.
Yeah, but they lost last time they played him.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's not when the Browns were tanking.
No, this was ultimate disparity. Derrick Henry, 20 carries, 138 yards and 2 scores. Like, if they don't make a big push in the playoffs this year, something's gone horrendously wrong. Because Lamar is going to be the MVP.
No, he's not.
His stats have been way better than the seasons when he's won it.
Sorry, no, I know. I agree with you in the sense that yes, he probably should be. I disagree. I think there's politics at play to get Josh Allen his.
That's just racism.
It's not racism.
They're giving Josh Allen his flowers.
Yeah.
Wait, why? That's not how it works. Who's the best quarterback at the moment?
Yeah, but to be fair, didn't they give Brady his flowers? Didn't they give Aaron Rodgers his flowers?
Rodgers definitely got flowers.
Rodgers got flowers. I think Brady did too, but the point is I didn't agree with that either. But Josh Allen is clearly not better than Lamar Jackson.
I think if you're going, well, clearly, I think
But this is
they're so...
Wait.
If
you surround Josh Allen with Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, some of those receivers who I think are better than what the Bills have got.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
One of their receivers doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear shoes.
Apart from Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
Have they got a number one receiver?
Amari Cooper and Zay Flowers are like for like in number one, and everybody else is a throw 'em. You just chuck them in. The running back is different.
You look at the amount of separation that Bateman, Flowers get. It's incredible. It's brilliant scheme. What Josh Allen has to do is super heroic every week because he's basically throwing up to Keon Coleman.
Or he's running through half the team.
See, I can't lose this because who were the two quarterbacks when they came out that I said these are going to be the best two? It was Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They are. But what I'm saying is when they're both clearly better than virtually everyone else all the time, you then have to look at purely the stats.
I think Lamar Jackson is all this year is probably almost being punished for winning it last year. I don't think he should have won it.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think last year Allen was better.
Yeah.
And this year they're so equally brilliant. And it's hard because
what's nice though is being able to have a debate about it. Yeah. Like it's not obvious.
To pick one over the other, it feels like you're doing one down, and it isn't. They're both incredible, and effectively, it's a pleasure to watch them every Sunday because they are doing insane things that, on a regularity, we haven't seen.
It's like when we had Brady, Manning, and Rodgers and Roethlisberger all at their peak, and every week you were like,
I think we're getting back up to that level.
Peyton Manning too.
Yeah. Nice. We're getting back up to that level now with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes.
Rivers, did he?
No, I did not mention Philip Rivers. No,
Justin Herbert.
We are, and that's where it's at. So fair enough. Like I like the fact that it's not nailed on. I like the fact it's not Mahomes.
Like I said, Jackson is being punished this year because he won it last year, and I think Mahomes was punished last year because he won it the year before. The cycle has to break, and they actually eventually do have to give it to the most impressive player of the year.
Yeah, but
that's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, and therein lies the problem.
Yeah,
because he's not even getting a shout, and his season's been phenomenal. Right, last game with massive relevance. The Dolphins had a way into the playoffs, providing the Bengals lost and the Broncos lost, and they won. Now, we already know the Broncos got the easiest of rides, and the Bengals did not. But the Dolphins also flubbed it.
Yeah.
Like, it was there, at least put something up and show me that you can finish with a winning season. Instead, they finished 8-9. They lost to a 4-win, now 5-win Jets team. And they didn't just lose. They lost by 12 points. They lost by, 2 scores, basically. And they were poor. And at the end of the game, Tyreek waved goodbye and basically said, the door's open, I'm gone.
He didn't wait to the end of the game, if you believe McDaniel.
Oh, really?
He quit on the team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
I think McDaniel said he basically didn't want to go in. And it must be awkward. Tyreek Hill has never missed the playoffs as a player. It's a ridiculous thing. Yeah. But
do you know what it comes down to? It comes down to the fact Tua is never fit because they had to play Tyler Huntley in the last 2 games of the season, and he's not that good. That's what it comes down to,
and that comes down to bad GMing.
Absolutely,
because you've not built a roster that's capable of winning or getting into the playoffs, and this roster is capable of getting into the playoffs if you've got a good quarterback. And Tua's a good quarterback, but then Tua's going to be injured half the year because that's Tua. So why haven't you got a good backup?
Yeah, it's true.
This season's all from the start has felt cursed. They're coming in with their best pass rushers injured.
Yeah.
And throughout the season, they've lost Hill points. Hill started the season being arrested. Remember before the game.
Yeah.
He's ended the season with another 2 children.
Yeah. Well, that we
know of.
Isn't that he has more children than touchdowns?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. It's
Jesus.
I think it's more children than Philip Rivers.
That's one big minivan that Rivers has got as well.
Looking beyond this season, so Dolphins haven't made the playoffs. No talk about McDaniel going, is there? Like, he'll get another year.
Should be. There should
This
be.
is what I'm asking. Should there be?
Yes.
No, I disagree. I think one bad season after following a number of good seasons. I think there's credit in the bank to have a bad season.
Now, if you have who was voted the best player in the league going into this season,
He was NFL number 1, wasn't he?
yeah, you have a number 6 overall quarterback, you have a number 17 overall wideout, you have who is known as the best cornerback in the league.
Don't get me wrong, the results this year are disappointing.
But this is the second season where they should have a deep playoff run with that roster.
Yeah.
And they do not fill me with confidence. That's it. The last 2 years, the Jets haven't been good. And it doesn't help that,
Fat face.
Yeah, the Jets quarterback last season, his Achilles turned into pulled pork after one play. This season they've been no better. The Pats haven't been good.
Worse.
Yeah, there should have been a way in for this team. For me, McDaniels should be.
I think he's on the hot seat.
He's on the hot seat for this.
Yeah.
next season.
For me, they're the biggest disappointment to not make the playoffs, but I think he gets a bad season.
Especially if they lose Tyreek Hill, who is a...
Can't say the division is better. The Bengals division is better.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
I think, again, Bengals
But yes,
win
they're
one
right
more
up there.
game.
Yeah,
they're right.
that's it. The Dolphins and the Bengals are basically the same, and both coaches should get that bad year.
Yeah.
And whichever one of them performs least well next year will probably be out of a job.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's fair. Quickly, before we move on from the Jets, it's another shite season. Aaron Rodgers back next year, yes or no? Going
No.
around the table, Jim?
Nope.
Paul?
Probably.
John?
No.
I also think no. I don't necessarily think he retires.
No, I think he retires.
I just think he goes away from the Jets.
I think he retires, but comes back.
Yeah, see, I don't think any head coach that they appoint is going to want him.
No.
That said, he finished with 4 touchdowns for the first time in a game since 2021. So,
I think... I think
Almost got Devontae Adams killed.
Oh, that was it was amazing. What a hit. What his soul left his arsehole when
That's
he
up
hit
there
the
with
floor.
the Brandon Cooks hit.
It was
in the Super Bowl.
so good. It was so
I mean,
good.
to be fair, Brandon Cooks wasn't he? His Wikipedia page changed to him dying in that Super Bowl game.
I haven't looked up what I'm about to ask, so somebody's going to shout it at me later. But with a touchdown to interception record of 28-11, is Aaron Rodgers the best Jets quarterback on a single season basis of all time? Because at one point this season, he was on record with 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 11 picks. I think that puts him right up with the best Jets quarterbacks of all time.
So we've spoken about how good it used to be with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Who's the only person to beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in one season?
Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in one season.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez.
Correct.
Yeah.
The best Jets quarterback of all time.
2010, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the league needs rid of this man.
I think so. Everybody's
On the Jets' own website, 3 takeaways from the 2024 season. One for the history books. Aaron Rodgers' first full season playing with the Jets resulted in one of the best statistical seasons in franchise history, even though the team did not meet expectations. His 28 touchdowns rank number 3 in franchise history.
Okay, number 3.
But when you look at
And the third most for yards.
the NFL social media went mad. It's the 500 touchdown club. They were 5-12 in a shit division.
Yeah.
He brought in all his mates.
Yeah. They've got worse as a team since he's been there.
They sacked their head coach and finished 5-12.
Yeah.
Go away.
Oh, who has the most Jets touchdowns in a season?
Fitzpatrick.
Only Ryan Fitzpatrick with
Of course he
31. Yeah, baby. He still lives strong. 2015. Didn't make the playoffs then either, did they? Fucked it in the last game against the Dolphins, didn't they? Yeah, they did. Excellent stuff. Right. Moving on to games with less relevance, as I've very politely written here. One for the seeding bracket. Commanders, Cowboys. Cowboys, no chance. Commanders looking to finish with a higher seeding as possible. Anything you want to take away from this game?
Hey, you know how we
Now
meant...
Mamiota's alive.
Hey, Marcus Mariota in
Mariota.
2025, baby.
We know, we mentioned how the Bucks went out their way to get that bonus for Evans. Cooper Rush needs to play this game to get a $500,000 bonus,
and they didn't.
And they played Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Arseholes.
And they claim they didn't know.
The
But
owner's the GM.
yeah, they claim they didn't know, but they fucking did know.
Fuck.
He just needed to start, and then they could. So, Trey Lance, was he actually not as shit as you thought? Like, he didn't look terrible.
Yeah, but that was a guy with no flaw.
Look,
he could have come in and thrown the ball
Okay,
into the
let me
floor.
put it a different way. Let me put it a
Lance.
different way. He played in this game.
Yes, he did.
Is there anything about him playing in this game that made you think he won't be on a roster next year?
No.
Me neither. I think he'll probably be there.
He looked serviceable.
Decent backup. If you put him in Miami, maybe you would have got to the playoffs.
Well, that is something that. Yeah, I didn't.
Like, he looked better than I expected him to look, considering everybody had been telling me he couldn't throw a ball. So, that was something to take away. But yeah, Marcus Mariota came in. Jaden Daniels said he could have come back into the game. He left ostensibly hurt, but they basically didn't want to risk it. But he said if the game had meant getting in the playoffs, he would have stayed in the game. But Mariota, I believe, dived in for the winning score, did he not? And I mean, what more could I'm delighted, frankly.
15 of 18 and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, come on now.
That's a team who get a good backup.
That is a team with a good backup who
He was
leads
also
the
their
team.
lead rusher.
Yes, he was.
56 yards.
Like,
Come on.
you said about Flowers earlier. Flowers where they're due. What a performance!
It's
Do you remember when Chase Daniel came into
Yeah.
the Chiefs game and just had one of the best backup performances you'd ever seen? Well, this is another one.
But it's also a good example of having a backup that matches your starting quarterback's
that's it.
play style, which might restrict Trey Lance slightly because he'd be perfect
Absolutely.
backup for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, fair play to Mariota. Did all right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Where is Blake Bortles these days?
Ripping cigs.
Yep, absolutely. Just checking.
Terry McLaurin is
Yeah.
someone who deserves far more credit than he's given.
Yeah, he's on a franchise that just doesn't get the plaudits, so he sort of it's a bit like Mike Evans. They just kind of get overlooked a little bit. You hear more about Tyreek Hill than you hear about either of those two, but I would take both of them over Tyreek Hill.
At the moment,
Yeah, sure, but you would this season.
absolutely,
You would.
yeah.
So I agree. Absolutely. Bears Packers. Only fun because the Bears had lost a record 8
Well, they
in a
haven't
row.
won a game since 2018.
I think.
Sorry,
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
I heard
It was 11 in a row. Then I think they'd lost.
a Bears fan who writes for The Athletic was saying basically this doesn't count as a rivalry because to be a rivalry, more than one of the teams has to
competitive.
win. And even though the Bears win this, they win it because it's Malik Willis. And
Maybe, and they needed a field goal at the end,
Yeah.
which was like a 55-yarder or something.
it felt very,
but
but they did it.
they did win. What's the overall record? Packers Bears. Any ideas?
It's quite even, isn't it?
107 Packers, 95
Yeah.
Bears. That's like that's not bad considering they'd lost 11 in a row and the
Yeah.
gap is 12.
I remember it was only a few years back. It literally was.
Well,
95
Last time they
each,
beat
wasn't
the
it?
Packers,
Yeah.
Jay Cutler was their quarterback. That tells you all you need to know. Yeah, he was, but still.
Oh, he was.
But
was fine.
I mean, I liked him. But look, Jordan Love seemed to have maybe hurt himself. More importantly,
Yeah, he was
Christian
back.
Christian Watson.
I think he did say he could have come back in the
I think
game.
he was almost preparing to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
he was because Malik Willis took the shot of all shots.
Yeah,
didn't he?
but yeah,
kept him
no
back.
Watson. I think
Christian
I
Watson.
think
That's the
possibly the second biggest loss of the playoffs.
Is it torn ACL?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's out for the season.
And this late in the year as well. That means no guarantee of him starting next season either.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
If Zay Flowers doesn't play because he came
came off, yeah.
I think there's more chance of him playing. But Christian Watson, I think, does really hidden.
He stretches the field. And
Yeah,
brings Josh
he
Jacobs
does
into
stuff
it.
that the
Yeah.
other receivers don't do.
Yeah.
The others are sort of mix and match. Christian Watson,
Yeah.
I think he's the best one, but it's a shame.
Okay, Seahawks Rams. So Rams were already there. Seahawks were going to tie them up basically at the top of the table, but it wouldn't have been enough. Effectively, the Rams were just playing for seeding. Look, I think Geno is another player who once again doesn't get the credit. He played fine. Like, he's been fine all season. I think they'll roll with him next season because he's not the problem on this team.
It's the line. It is always the line. It's the Seahawks.
The lack of rushing attack. And they've fired their
They've been
offensive
poor.
offensive
Grubb.
coordinator.
Yeah, he's gone already. They've done nothing with the rushing game this season.
Exactly.
Kenneth Walker was brilliant last year, and Charbonnier was a decent number 2. And this year, they just could not get it going.
Sweet fuck all. Yeah, they'll have a scheme which fits what McDonald wants to play, which I think will be a bit more rushing, and that actually suits Geno Smith more as well.
They got better as the season went on but I put Geno. I was gushing about Geno one week, and then the next week you're looking and you're like, oh,
he's just a Dalton line.
yeah,
Yes.
He is exactly.
Yes.
It's the Geno line. He is exactly that.
He's
Absolutely.
fine. He's standard, great, all right.
yeah.
He's not bad. He's not good.
He can have really good games.
Yeah.
He has really but that's what Kirk Cousins has built a career on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Geno's similar standard.
Do you know it was a career high 4 touchdown passes from Geno in this game?
Yeah,
Like,
he hit a load of bonuses as well. in this
he
game.
did.
Yeah.
He hit, because he hit his yards, his
And
touchdowns,
team wins as well.
and his team wins
Yeah.
incentives because they got to 10. And do you know what? Like, if they'd got into the playoffs instead of the Rams, you'd say, yeah, it's like much of a muchness. Neither of these teams are going to win it.
Weak NFC West
It's
this
a,
year.
it's a, yeah, very. Them Niners,
really bad.
Oh, they suck.
Yeah, they did.
But you know,
Shanahan out.
30-25 win, and a decent way to end the season. I think the coach has done really well there, considering.
I think he's one of the better rookie coaches this year.
They just don't finish with losing records. The Seahawks was it like 11 or 12 years in a row.
They're a well-run organisation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are.
They also have a player called Kenny McIntosh, who I'm fairly sure we went to school with. Who knew? Okay, last game
Bobo
with
scored as well this week.
he did.
It was nice to see the return of Bobo.
Last game with any sort of semblance of significance. Chargers playing for seeding versus the Raiders.
Just got to say, in terms of Jake Bobo, the best thing I've seen on social media all week was they announced the firing of Antonio Pierce on the NFL social.
Jesus,
Instagram
spoiler
page.
alert, mate.
I know, right? But the first comment I saw was, "How does this affect Jake Bobo's legacy?" And it floored me. It stopped my day.
So the Chargers secure the 5th seed with a 34-20 win over the listless Raiders, who finished 4-13. Again, it feels like every year 4-13 for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, 28 of 36, best part of 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. They're getting good work out of J.K. Dobbins. Basically, they're going into the playoffs strong.
Really looking really good.
Like, who's going to want to play them? No. They've got a coach who knows how to win. Like
Quinton Johnson, 13 receptions, 186 yards.
186 yards. And like, I thought he was dead at one point.
They're like the Commanders, aren't they?
They're berserker.
Oh, I think they're better than the Commanders. I really do.
I think they're better than the Commanders.
But I mean, they have that kind of.
Yeah, the tendency is
They have that aura around them that they could be thorny to play against.
Yep.
Thorny. Yeah, I like that. Difficult. They won't fuck off.
They got the Texans, so they almost.
Yeah, they're through.
I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush on that one. Chargers Texans. Who's taking the Texans? Fucking no one.
I think the odds are on Chargers. I think by double digit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So we're looking at who's betting on a Commanders Chargers Super Bowl.
What a game!
I like
the game we want to see. Yeah. We'll come back to the Raiders shortly, but fair play to Harbaugh in his first season to stop the Chargers from charging.
If the Chargers win, and then the Rams win, I think next week there could be a thing where
they're both at home.
One kicks off at 6, one kicks off at 9:30.
Yeah,
and they'll just have to
move
them,
yeah.
and basically there'll be no Rams or Chargers insignia on the pitch because they'll just say Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I hope it happens.
Oh,
I don't, because I want Vikings through.
Yeah, but the best thing about that stat, and the best thing I saw all week is the Jets and the Giants have played in the same stadium for 41 years.
Yeah, and it never happened.
And they've never had to consider this.
Yeah. To be fair, that's mainly because the Jets are in shit.
Yeah.
Oh, the Giants have had their time.
Although
we're going to mention it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to now get into games with no relevance. We'll start with the Giants because we're there. We're there with the Giants, aren't we? Right. Games with no relevance. Eagles-Giants. Giants cementing their worst ever season in terms of number of losses and a 10th consecutive defeat.
Oh, but
But what? They were turd again.
They were bad, but
Is this worse than the Pat Shermer team? No. Is this worse than the Bob McAdoo?
Bob McAdoo? Who's he? Ben McAdoo.
Ben McAdoo.
No.
Joe Judge.
Why did we not do that when he was relevant? He's never coming back. No, but like, what a shit team.
Isn't Ben McAdoo?
I meant as a head coach.
Oh, he's not a head, but yeah, he's
Coordinator?
yeah, he's at the Pats.
Yeah, but he's not coming back as a head coach, is he? Because
He's a defensive assistant.
even
to the
we
Pats.
wouldn't be that fucking stupid.
But yeah,
So
Tanner McKee's all right then.
Tanner McKee did just fine in a 20-13 win. It's not like you got beat out, but it was mostly the Eagles' backups.
It was all the Eagles.
Saquon didn't break the rushing record because they didn't play him.
Bob McAdoo was the NBA MVP in 1975.
Of course.
And you knew that, obviously.
Clearly.
But yeah, no, like you see what happens to Zay Flowers. You don't want to take that risk with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Saquon, etc., etc.
Now,
Correct.
we're going to talk coaching, as I've said, in the second half. When we get there, we'll talk about what the Giants are doing. But quickly, any chance of any of your quarterbacks being on the roster next year that have started games for you this year?
Tommy DeVito will be there as a third stringer.
See, I think it's more likely that Drew Lock's there as a backup because you're going to need a bridge. No? Drew Lock's been all right. I
But
mean,
you're asking for a Giants fan. You're asking, do you want to be shot or stabbed? You know?
which would you prefer?
I'd keep Tommy DeVito
Why?
because you need a third string quarterback.
Yeah, but I'd have you over Tommy DeVito.
But
Drew Lock, his deal's done. I'm just looking if Tommy DeVito
is shit.
if I woke
Tommy
up,
DeVito's deal is also done. So technically,
great,
we
yeah.
have no quarterback.
no quarterbacks on the roster.
No,
Which is still better than what you had.
Yeah.
but if I woke up tomorrow morning and I was Joe Shane,
Yeah.
the first thing I would do,
Thank my lucky stars I still had a job.
Yeah.
firstly I'd ask my son, who do you think we should draft? I'll go and go with that because he did a great job last time. But I would just look at just drafting Cam Ward. I'd look at Cam Ward rather than Shadur.
You're not getting there.
No,
Fair enough.
They'll both be gone.
But
You will
whatever.
be picking up a free agency quarterback,
But
and
I
it's
would-
going to be Sam Darnold or Kirk Cousins, and I'm going to laugh myself silly.
But I would look at the Michael Penis Jr. approach. I'd bring in somebody more experienced and just sit them. Because every team that does that has a successful quarterback off the back of it.
I'd send a second round pick to the Vikings and take a risk on JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I'd rather do that.
Yeah, why not? Right, carrying on with the...
I'd rather like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Again, I think
Yeah.
that's a good shout.
He's free agent.
I wanted him this year for us. Roll call of irrelevance continues. Patriots, Bills. Pats went into this game with the number 1 seed. They come out of it with the number 4 seed because Joe Milton was quite good and was good enough to beat the Bills' backups.
I told you. I told
Bazooka Joe.
all of you.
Bazooka Joe.
Sure.
Who drafted him third overall in our mock draft? This guy.
That would be you. That would indeed be
He did
you.
have one of the greatest plays not to count.
Yes.
That was just astounding.
It was good.
Mahomes does that. We never hear the fucking end of it.
No, he was really good. Like, the Patriots squad has grown together as the season's gone on. Everything else has fallen apart on the other side. We'll come to them shortly. The Bills were just exercising the backups and Mitch Trubisky. Fair enough. Colts, Jags.
No.
That's a game that
Don't care.
nobody wanted overtime on.
No.
Yeah.
That honestly just felt like a punishment from the NFL.
In the end, the Colts won 26-23, was it?
Yep, that's right.
And the Jags secured another terrible, epically shit season.
Come on, Sue.
But it was, in terms of the coaching, I know we'll mention it, but just seeing Shad Khan say, I'd get rid of the GM if the head coach wanted, with the GM on the Zoom call.
is one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever seen.
Love it.
Yeah, Trent Baalke. How do you have a
We'll
job?
talk about Trent Baalke.
Cardinals, Niners. Let's complete the triumvirate of misery here while we're talking about people's teams that are not in the playoffs.
At least we improved our draft position.
You did improve your draft position. Cardinals also not going to the playoffs, but seemingly they do have all the pieces. They just don't get them working every week.
That seems to be a running trend with the Cardinals, though.
It is. It is exactly how that franchise works. A bit like the Falcons. Like the bits are there. It just doesn't work all the time.
Patrick Taylor for the 49ers had 17 carries, 109 yards.
Here's the bigger question. Here's the bigger question, James. Brock Purdy, is he your starting quarterback next season?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you sign him too.
Is he getting paid?
Yes.
Yes, I think so too.
He's not been the problem this year.
He won't be at the top 4 or 5, but he'll be in the next bracket down.
I actually think.
I think he gets. I think he gets league leading money.
I don't think he gets league leading. I think he gets nearer to 50 though.
Go on.
I was going to say Brock Purdy's not been the problem
No,
in this Niners team. He's probably dragged them to better results than we perhaps deserved.
Yeah, it's certainly not been a great season. But finally, the number 1 pick goes to the Titans, who played the Texans. Texans in the playoffs, excellent with your 10 wins and your first round loss. Titans securing the number 1 pick. Will Levis came out of the game afterwards and said, I think I'm the right guy for this team moving forward. And everyone went, no, no, you won't. And we're going to see Shadur Saunders there next year by looks things.
Cam Ward.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Will Levis, the Liz Truss of the NFL quarterbacks.
Well, one of 2 quarterbacks is one of 2 quarterbacks will be there next year.
To be fair, he's outlived the lettuce.
Yeah. Let's go to well with Mayo. So he'd be happy with that.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Right, we will be back after this short break to talk about playoff seedings and draft order. So, it's time to discuss the most exciting part of the season, playoff seedings, the relevant part of the season. Relevant being today's magic word. I don't know if you'd noticed that. Jim, I'm going to come to you because you tend to be the most well-researched on these things, and I haven't written them down. Talk me through the playoff seedings for Super Wildcard Weekend.
The seedings or the...
Well, the matchups, the seedings, however you want to go about it.
The Chiefs and the Lions have got the number 1 seeding, respectively, in the AFC and NFC, so they've got a bye. We're not going to see them until the divisional round, which is next week. So then we kick off AFC, 2nd seed Bills, 3rd seed Ravens, 4th seed Texans, 5th seed Chargers, 6th seed Steelers, and 7th seed Broncos. Whole playoffs actually kick off Saturday, 9:30 p.m. UK time. Chargers and Texans. Chargers got a better win-loss record, even though they are the lower seed. Following on from that, Sunday, divisional matchup, Steelers-Ravens. And then we polish off the AFC with, well, we discussed it earlier, I think the best playoff match of the weekend, Broncos at Bills. Carrying on Sunday, 9:30 UK time, Packers at Eagles. Then Sunday night, 1 a.m. Monday morning our time, Commanders at Buccaneers. And then Monday Night Football, Vikings at Rams. The 14-3 Vikings at the 10-7 Rams.
Okay, let me stop you there. Gary had been onto our Discord, because we have a Discord.
We need to stop promoting that, by the way.
Sorry?
We need to start promoting that.
You promote away. I'm still struggling to log into the fucker.
I've not even tried.
Oh, I have. It tells me I already had an account and I need to reuse it. And anyway, we have a Discord. Gary has promoted the idea that you shouldn't be lower seeded if you have a superior record to a division winner. I believe that was the gist of his idea.
Agree.
Yes.
I couldn't more strongly disagree with him.
Well, you're wrong.
Winning the division should be everything.
Okay, so I think winning the division, you get into the playoffs no matter what. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's fine. That I agree with.
Right.
But then we've obviously got 3 wildcard placements, and especially in the NFC this year, you've got the Vikings on 14-3, and then 2 division winners on 10-7 who have a higher seeding and get the home match. What's wrong with saying, all right, Vikings, you've got the better seed, you're the number 3 seed now?
There's nothing wrong with it.
That should be the way.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it,
So
but why would you diminish the division status?
Not diminish.
It does. It immediately diminishes the division status.
does diminish it,
You
but
get
they-
into the playoffs, that's fine.
The Vikings won more games.
Yeah.
No, because
And they
everything
won.
is
They're
based on
they're
your
the
division.
better team.
But they won more games, and the team in their division that won that division are better seeded. I still feel like they're... Yeah.
The worst team gets the best seed, the better seed.
Or their division was just harder.
No.
Well, it could be.
Hang
It could
on,
be.
the Vikings are in the NFC North.
I'm not saying this year
That's
specifically.
a pretty hard...
It's a very hard division, yeah.
And the Bucks are in the NFC South. The Bucks are the 3 seed, the Vikings are the 5
But we have other
seeds.
years where teams have won a division at 10-7. You guys, the Niners have won a division at 10-7 because their division, there were 3 teams at 10-7. So you can have it that the division is so hard it makes you win fewer games. Winning the division should be sacrosanct. It should be everything.
Yeah, and it is, and that means you get into the playoffs. That's your
I think you
that's
earn your seedings
entry
that way.
card into the playoffs. No, the seeding should be then based on who is the best team.
But you're not because you're not judging it like for like. Just because it says they're the best team doesn't mean
Nothing's
they are.
ever going to be judged like for like because we don't. Not every team has exactly
The
the
point
same
is,
schedule.
if it was the other way around, I wouldn't argue it. I'm just saying the question was posed, and I don't see what's wrong with the current system.
I think the current system.
But then I wouldn't have added a 7th playoff team. But I don't see what's wrong with the current system.
I think the biggest benefit of the current system is that it creates this argument. It creates more airtime.
You don't think the other way around would create an argument for, well, they won their division, they should be seeded higher?
I think it would. No,
See, I would argue it.
well, you're just an idiot.
But then I argued that we should only have 6 teams
I disagree
because
with that.
they added a 7th to say we want to mop up that team at the end, and then you've got a team like the Bengals. So next year they're going to say, well, we ought to have 8 teams in.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that was more about having more relevant football in week 17.
Maybe, but it just means some more shit teams are getting in the playoffs.
And there's some good teams that missed out on the playoffs.
There are.
Yeah, but you look at some other seasons. You know, the Giants when they won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, who were this unstoppable machine, came in off the wild card.
Yep.
Okay, here's the thing then, before we move on. If you wanted to have it all the teams with higher records, better records, are in and seeded highly, why not just have one league for each conference rather than 4 divisions of 4? Just have 16 teams in a league and just take the top 7. And then you'd get what you want.
Yeah. But then, no, because you also got to play the other teams in the other division.
Well, yeah, you can sort it how you want, but the point is you get the 7 at the top.
The only absolute fair way is if everyone has the same schedule.
Which you can never
Which
do.
you can
because
never
it'd just
do.
be too many games.
Exactly. So there's never going to be a fair way of doing it. The NFL decided this is the way we're going to do it. They're not going to change their mind, are they?
Well, I think that they might do at some point. I have always liked the idea that every 4 years they shake up the divisions. So the teams that have finished bottom most times in a 4-year run get moved around to different divisions. That'd be great.
You're punishing people geographically then. Though,
Yeah, but it used to be that travelling was such a problem. That's why they divide up. Now it's fucking normal.
Indianapolis Colts are in the AFC South.
Yeah.
And Indianapolis is in the North.
Yeah.
It's next to Illinois.
I really like the idea that every 4 years they go, right, put all these teams in a hat and they're redrawing them into new divisions. That'd be great. I'd really shake it up.
I don't hate that idea, to be honest with you.
Just make it interesting.
I think there's going to be an expansion.
We're moving the Seahawks
Soon.
to where all the
Yes.
teams from Florida are.
Yeah, well, I think there'll be an
Think there'll be an
expansion soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of cities in the US that want to have a franchise: San Antonio,
Europe.
St. Louis, and Europe, and South America.
See,
and I do think Florida needs another team.
obviously,
God,
see,
I think can we have a 3 LA teams?
yeah.
That'd be nice.
In the
Playing
same
at the
stadium.
team. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, all right. Let's talk about the playoff games then.
Tri-Fi Stadium.
Super Wildcard Weekend.
wicked wild card.
I'm going to start where we were discussing earlier. Broncos at Bills.
I love this.
Right. Paul's already told me I'm an idiot. That's fine. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the Broncos win this. I know it's daft. I know I'm sticking, but what's the point of going safe? Like, you can pick 1 or 2 safe games there. You know the Texans aren't winning that fucking game.
I'm going to mix up the subjects a little bit here because we're going to talk about people getting fired. If that happens,
Sean McDermott will go.
yeah,
If they lose to the Broncos in the first round, he'll go.
that's why we're not paying out on our bet on the over/under.
Now, I know it's a big call,
I
but
think it's a fair call,
I can see it happening. I absolutely can see
especially if he
it
goes out in the wild card.
Everyone says, well, the Ravens always muff it when they get to the playoffs. So do the Bills. Every year.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the Ravens have won Super Bowls. The Bills have a noted history of fucking up in the playoffs. It's like inbuilt within the team.
Even if they get to a Super Bowl,
It's like
they
Tottenham,
lose.
isn't it? Like that top Spursiness.
But
the Bills
does
have.
Sean McDermott not strike you like Eagles level Andy Reid, where he just isn't going to win the big game?
But who's
Yeah.
gonna come
John,
in tomorrow
clock
and
that
make
at what
team
time
better?
that is. When they win
No.
it this year, you can cut me.
Tony Dungy Bucks.
Yeah, like there's no confidence that you could actually win it.
So
with
you're
it.
saying we bring John Gruden into the Bills?
It's bizarre because I could see it, but you could also make an argument that Sean McDermott is Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
These
you're
two
right.
might be
It's
two of the top
crazy.
candidates for
Yeah.
Coach of the Year.
I mean, I'm going to peel it back a little bit. then I'll start talking about the playoffs.
So uncomfortable right now.
Got your Penix Jr. out again.
The Bills should win this game comfortably. The Broncos are far improved, but the Bills...
I don't think comfortably.
Pick a scoreline. I'm going to say Broncos win by 3.
Do you think it's going to be... Because I'm veering towards if it's by 3, then it's 37-34.
I was about to say, I've got
overtime win.
Not even over
38, 35.
It's like both teams get into the 30s and there's an absolute shootout unless it absolutely hammers it down with snow.
So there's a couple of things that tempt fate here. It's a game the UK can watch.
So it'll be shit.
It's a game we're excited about.
Yeah, so it'll be shit.
This has 21-14 written all over it.
10-7 all over it.
6-3.
2-0.
just a safety.
In the first quarter as well.
Oh, it's 0 degrees.
Any snow?
Snow.
Because there's a lot of snow in the US at the moment.
Yes. -2 on Sunday at game time. And snow. Light snow, though.
Come on, John. Where are you falling on this one? Pick a winner.
Buffalo, 1-score game, though. And I think it's a slobber knocker.
Didn't he used to be in charge of like one of those Eastern Bloc countries?
Yes.
Slobberknocker Milosevic. That was him.
Defense minister for Estonia.
Okay.
I think it's a great game.
Okay, sticking in the AFC then. Chargers at Texans. No one's picking the Texans, are they?
Chargers to score.
I've got Chargers by 10.
Yeah.
Paul?
I agree.
Pre the injury to Tangdell, I'd be a disadvantage.
But has CJ Stroud not been one of the most disappointing players this season?
He's got them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know, but on a personal, like, what you were expecting
from
from
the trajectories of him versus Bryce Young, they've literally reversed.
He's been bad.
Yeah.
His team are in the playoffs. Bryce Young was benched for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I'm not denying he's still in the playoffs, and that's fine. He's in the playoffs on a weak division, and they've scraped in.
But they've scraped in. But
I don't think CJ Stroud is at any point the issue. Like the guys,
he's not been helping either.
He's got a bad line.
The line is appalling.
Yeah.
Like, Laumi Tunsil is not the force he once was.
No.
And he's the only good bit.
When was he drafted? Like 2015, 2014? That's a long time ago, Laumi Tunsil. He went to the Dolphins, didn't he?
Yeah. And then
that's a long
mega
time
trade
ago.
to bring him to the Texans.
But they can't rush.
But don't let
the defense isn't even bad.
No, and I'm not saying CJ Stroud's done. What I'm saying is, for me, I had such high expectations. I thought he'd be a top 3 or 4 quarterback
Everyone
this year,
did.
and he just
Second year slumps. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Move on.
Right, okay. We'll round out the AFC then. Steelers, Ravens by 6.
I got more.
Yeah, but they
Divisional
never.
game. I know it can be close.
Just never.
I don't have any confidence in the Steelers.
No,
See, I don't.
either.
I know the Ravens will win, but I don't feel like they're going to walk away with it.
24-10.
I have the funny feeling there's a Ravens fuck up coming in this playoffs.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't think it's this game.
It's not this one.
Yeah, this is a
Paul? This game. This is where the fuck up's coming. There's going to be one team that should go further that are eliminated. I'm going to go Steelers win by 3.
We all said Bills.
You go Steelers win by 3.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I don't mind that. I mean, I can see it. Same as I can see
fair,
the Broncos
that's
beating
the
the Bills.
type of thing that does happen when the AFC North play each other in the playoffs. Like when Browns beat the Steelers.
Todd Monken does have a clanger of a game in him.
Yeah.
It's true. Right. NFC. Commanders, Bucks. I've got Bucks by 3, but I think this is the hardest game of all of them to call.
No, Commanders by 7.
Yeah, I agree. I think Commanders are going to win this.
You reckon? I just think it's a really hard one to call.
There's more mistakes in the Bucks team than there is the Commanders.
Yeah, Dan Quinn should be in the Coach of the Year conversation for me, and it's not being discussed.
You've got everybody in the Coach of the Year conversation.
He's the first person I've said.
Bucks by 3.
If Baker gets hot, he's better than what the Commanders have got. If Baker gets hot. I would still take him over Jaden Daniels this year.
No.
Oh, he's been brilliant. Don't be wrong.
Like, just if he gets hot on a streak, they'll win.
I mean, that Commanders defense is decent.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's why it's the hardest game for me to
I've
call.
got 2 words for you that are going to nullify Mike Evans. Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
They're the best of friends, those two.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Packers, Eagles.
Eagles.
Eagles. See,
Eagles.
I've
Eagles
written by
comfortable.
6, but I think it'd be by more now.
Worry about the injuries now accumulating with the Packers.
Yeah, I might change that to Eagles by 10. I think
Yeah.
I think they're just going to run over them. I can't see that the Packers are going to have enough to keep up. I'm not even sure it'll be close at any point in the game.
The Eagles
shame.
defensively scare me.
It's
How
a
good
shame.
they are.
Yeah,
I had hope for the Packers this year, not been helped by injuries.
No.
But they're still soft in the middle, which is where
I am very similar.
the Eagles are pretty good. So
Yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, like the Jalen Carter. I can't remember the name of the cornerback, the white guy who's very good.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah. Quinion Mitchell. They've put N'Kobe Dean. They've got some absolute studs who are young.
That defense has gradually got better under Vic Fangio throughout the season. Like you think about this is the first game of the year, wasn't it, in Brazil, and it was like a close game. I don't think it's anywhere near that. I think the Eagles win this quite comfortably.
All right, last game then. Vikings, Rams.
Vikings
by quite a few.
Yeah, Vikings by 10. I
reckon it's close.
I don't. I think the Vikings will lose spectacularly at some point. But I don't think this is the game. But the Rams are not a good team.
The Rams aren't a
The
good
Rams
team.
can be a good team. You remember the Rams Bills?
Yeah, yeah.
They were fucking brilliant that game.
So
And they just came up against superhuman Josh Allen. They're not coming up against superhuman Josh Allen on their day. They still have Sean McVay.
Yeah.
I still trust Sean McVay.
Who's the only other team apart from the Lions that the Vikings lost to?
is it the Rams?
It's the Rams. Lost 30-20.
Do you remember when the Vikings were 13-3 and lost to the Giants?
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
I agree.
course,
I
of
think the
course.
Rams are. I think their coaching staff are probably the most intelligent set of coaches in the league.
It's
And I think they can scheme, and they would have learnt from what Detroit did on Sunday to Vikings in terms of the amount of pressure and the blitzes they got on Darnold. They'll take that. I still think the Vikings could win, but I don't think it's as big
Equally,
a shock if the Rams.
The other side of this is, are the Rams not just the NFC equivalent of this year's Bengals? Like, basically, if the Bengals had won one more game, it'd be the same thing. They're just not that good.
No, they're not.
their streak. They are both brilliant and incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
Like you take that offense has been missed Nakua and Cup for a lot of this season. Williams is a lead running back. The line isn't
yards.
The line isn't great, but it's getting better because they spend more time with each other. The defense they've added some really great pieces. If it clicks, they'll take this Vikings team close.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the shock of the weekend. I don't, as well, yeah.
Pick me a winner, John.
Oh, I just said Vikings, but by 3.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm going Vikings, but again,
Paul?
with Paul.
Rams.
And I'll take the Vikings. Okay, so we're not massively apart. Like, we know there's one or two. There'll probably be a shock in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get shellacked. It's the Texans. But otherwise, we're reasonably close.
If you listen to this, Gary, can you send me your predictions and I'll track them?
Right,
Just big if.
we have to talk draft order.
Yep.
So let's talk about the top 6
All right.
in the draft. So number 1 pick,
Tennessee.
Tennessee. You're on the
Tetons.
clock. We're fairly sure they're going to take a quarterback, aren't
Should
we?
do, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Will Levis isn't starting for them next year, is he? Because Will Levis is the worst quarterback in the league,
He's
isn't he?
terrible.
He is.
Worst quarterback in the league. We had DNR there.
I mean, fuck me. I could have got the fishing rod out there.
I know.
Took him a while though.
Badger baiting's illegal, but farrow baiting apparently perfectly okay.
I'm.
That's beautiful.
I just want it said that DTR is an absolutely appalling quarterback.
He is. Fine. But Titans are taking a quarterback.
That's cost
Jim,
us Jameis games.
Which quarterback are they taking?
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Safer. I think he's a winner. He's got the better stature. He's better passing accuracy. I think.
Okay.
It's consensus.
With the second pick,
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns, again, picking in the top 2 for, well, I think it's about the 16th time since
It's been quite
1999.
a while since they've been
It's bad.
Yeah, but 16th time since 1999. It might be 15 time. It's like
shit. It's only really been the last 6 years they've been.
2016, 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
They picked twice number one.
who are they taking and why?
Oh, I don't know.
Shadur.
Yeah, probably.
You think it's a quarterback?
Well, yeah, the current one is
Rapey.
yeah,
At
and
best.
allegedly, and also injured.
Does Deion Sanders let his son go to the Browns? Because he will get a say, a bit like Mr. Manning did with Eli.
Depends if Deion Sanders is the coach of the Browns.
I don't think he will be, and I don't think Shadur wants to go there. I think anybody wants to go there right now. And that's a shame, but I don't think Deshaun Watson starts for his team next year, but I'm not sure the answer is in the draft. If I was the Browns, I think I'd be looking for a free agent and I'd be trading back and getting out of this position.
That would be fair.
Because they're in trouble as a franchise, just generally speaking.
No, that's terrible.
I'd be saying at the moment they're trying to trade out of that. I think that's
Possibly.
what they want. I think they want the capital rather than the.
The problem
player.
is, they're not going to get much for it because it's. Whereas in previous seasons you trade up to 1, 2, 3 with the knowledge you're getting a pro ready, you'd be quite comfortable in the quarterback you're picking there. I don't think people are as comfortable with Shadur Sanders as a number 2 pick as a quarterback. So I think you get it. There's obviously you pay the premium for the position to pick, but then I don't think you're going to be paying as big a premium as you perhaps would in the last couple of years.
Right? Yeah.
I still think there's the ability for a team to do something stupid.
Yeah, the Raiders are well within distance to do it.
Shadur to the Raiders feels
makes more
so
sense. That
locked
makes
in.
more sense.
That feels so locked in.
It does, and I don't like it. Because I thought he might end up at the Raiders, if I'm honest. But, who's got the number 3 pick?
Giants.
And what are they doing? You need wide
Everything.
receiver?
Travis Hunter, just take the best player.
Well, if you're going to take the best player, you take Abdul Carter, the defensive end.
You've got defensive ends.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, on Travis Carter, I'd throw a wild card in there. You've got a running back, I guess. But Ashton Gentry.
I love Ashton Gentry. He's so exciting.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Especially if we're not going to get a quarterback.
Yeah,
have an absolute unicorn.
Yeah, the unicorn running backs do very well in New York.
They do. They do better elsewhere.
Yeah,
But yeah. 4 is yourselves.
Yeah.
New England Patriots.
I think we'll be looking at linemen because, that's how exciting we are.
It's what you need.
Or again, it might be that we're looking to acquire a couple of second-round picks by moving.
There aren't that many good offensive tackles in this draft.
No.
But there are 2 in Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell who are decent. So
Any good receivers?
Sorry?
Any good receivers?
Yes.
There are good receivers, but I think that depends on what we've done in free agency.
Yeah.
If we get Higgins or Hill, they'll go O-line because either of those 2 that you've just mentioned immediately make our O-line. But our O-line had the most injuries and the most combinations of any team this season. I'm surprised that one of us 4 didn't play at centre. It's like, fuck me.
I think I did.
Don't you just need to reopen the spell book and reanimate Dante Scarnecchia?
He's 106 years old, and he'd be our best O-lineman right now.
Yeah, but when you bring in your O-line coach Nosferatu,
Who's 5th?
5th is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, fuck me.
Who knows?
Defensive line.
something mad.
Will Trevor Lawrence still be starting their quarterback next season?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
In which case, find me anything to make the defense viable.
Yeah. Mason Graham, the defensive line. Or if Abdul Carter, the defensive edge is there, but they don't really need edge.
No.
They've got edge rushers.
And also Trayvon Walker's
Trayvon
starting
Walker-
to
Line.
get slightly
Trayvon
better.
Walker, no. Trayvon
Line.
Walker isn't very good. Trayvon Walker is massively overrated. And they could get rid of him,
Trayvon
replace
Walker
him with
is
someone else.
fine. He's just not the number 1 pick. He's possibly the worst number 1 pick we've had.
Josh Hines Allen.
They
Hines
didn't
Allen,
pick
Hines.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Trayvon Walker
should be
isn't
fired.
very good. Well,
They also need linemen, offensive linemen. Jaguars.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, so again, they might be picking up whoever we don't.
Yeah.
Because I suspect. And finally for the top 6.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Right. So this is where I think Shadur ends up. But if you've already got him gone, what are they doing?
Well, I think they trade up.
Yeah. I do as well. I think they're going for a quarterback. I think they've got no choice.
They have to. I mean, look,
Because if they don't draft one, what free agent quarterback wants to go there?
you don't want to. Well, it depends who the coach is. Because if they hire a coach that somebody wants to go and play for, fair enough. You might get a free agent. It might be Kirk Cousins. It might be Justin Fields would be perfect for them. But what other choice have they got? They sat last year, and then they watched 6 quarterbacks go ahead of them, which was a massive fuck up. All right, we didn't expect Michael Penix to go to the Falcons, but it happened. And at that point, they should have traded up above the Vikings to get JJ McCarthy. But they didn't. And so now they're stuck in some sort of quarterback hell purgatory.
It feels like, do you know what? You wouldn't want to say it out loud, but it's the sort of thing where you might see Jimmy Garoppolo playing next season again.
Well, no,
He ain't going back,
Yeah.
is he?
I don't know, but it's like the sort of stupid thing that would happen.
Yeah, I agree. Or they'll trade back and get a shit quarterback.
All right, so
Jackson
that's the top 6. We'll look through the rest of the draft closer to the time.
Loads of time for
Black Monday, coaching hires, coaching positions available. How many coaching positions have we got? Head coaching
6.
positions available? 6. I've got Patriots, Raiders, Bears, Jets, Jags, and Saints. You're fairly sure that Rizzy isn't getting the job?
well, it doesn't matter.
Fairly confident, yeah.
But yeah, it's available. But yeah, I don't think he gets it.
I'm not sure.
No. Like we've seen, like the Saints have just got to look at the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree.
And go, yeah, that didn't really work.
No, it didn't fucking work. Okay, so who do you think? Let's start with the obvious ones, right? The Patriots are going to, all intents and purposes, sign Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
Do we have a chord around the table that the most likely candidate is Vrabel? Because
I
that
think
rhymes.
that's a call.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, right?
Spelled
Okay.
Vrabel wrong, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm making it rhyme. That's fine. The interesting one I saw today was Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
this.
Pete Carroll to the Bears.
Yep.
I don't like.
I don't like it, but it's a very Bears thing to do. They don't tend to hire young, up-and-coming...
No, but they've always been wrong.
Yeah.
So
But
I
when
don't
does that
like it,
stop anyone carrying on to
but
the same
Pete Carroll coming back, I like. If I were the Jets, I'd be wanting Pete Carroll to organise my structure.
Never going there.
It's crazy, isn't it? But they might sign Rex Ryan.
Well, Rex Ryan says this.
He's got an interview.
Not an interview.
And who's been the best Jets head coach in the last 20 years?
I appreciate
15 years.
I appreciate that there's only 32 head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
At some point, if you're an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator with a really good reputation, you've got to back yourself to do one of these jobs.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of teams which I think are toxic.
Yeah.
Where you're like, if you're Ben Johnson, the hottest commodity on the market,
Yeah.
right? You're saying, I think he's going for an interview at the Jags. I get that because there are pieces he could work with.
It's
at the
Bears or
Jags.
Jags, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Bears
But
or Jags.
if the Jets come to you and say, do you want an interview? I'd be like, nah.
No, I would
It's
too.
going to ruin my reputation. I'm never getting a head coaching job afterwards.
I would too. So, which is it? Bears or Jags for Johnson? I think it's Bears.
If I was him, I'd be going to the Bears.
Paul?
You couldn't pay me enough to go to the Jags. I'd go to the Bears.
The
Bears.
biggest thing that's going to stop him going to the Jags is Trent Baalke.
Well, okay, let's get to the Jags then. So, Bulky isn't guaranteed to stay. We know that from the...
Fucking ridiculous
The
interview.
character assassination.
I think all that interview tells you is that Shad Khan isn't really giving that much of a shit about the Jaguars at the moment.
But I think the other thing is, like, he said at the start of the season, this is the most talented roster we've ever had. He's either got to admit that he's wrong and sack Trent Baalke because it's not the most talented roster that he's had, or he's saying it was all on the coach and they couldn't get anything out of it.
I mean,
But who told him it's the most talented roster? Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
I mean, also, you're hired as the GM. You're not going to go in there and go, bag of shit we got back here.
Yeah.
That was
Jesus.
terrible.
I've massacred this draft.
But no coach. Vrabel's not going to go there because of Baalke. Ben Johnson's not going to go there because of Baalke. You're going to have a sub fucking shitty head coach because that's all that.
I don't think Bulky will still be there. Or he'll interview the coaches, the coach will come in, and then he'll go.
The only acceptable reason I think for keeping him at the moment is that you get through the draft and then you sack him.
But why would you want him to pick your players?
Because
He's not going to be
all
there.
the work's been put in.
Yeah, but he's never been any good at it.
I know, but you're asking a new GM to come in and very quickly scout.
But anybody
Build
who's
his
looking
scout
for a GM job should already have their draft board.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
So pick me a coach that ends up at the Jags. So this is the point of the exercise. Like, who would want that job? It's so hard. Aaron Glenn? Would you really want your first coach? So I think it needs to be someone who's done the job before.
Mike McCarthy.
If he leaves the Cowboys?
He has been denied permission to interview at the Bears. But I don't know. Who.
So I mean, the Jags released their shortlist.
Yeah.
So Ben Johnson,
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn,
Salah.
Robert Saleh, Liam Cohen, Todd Monken, Joe Brady, Patrick Graham, and Kellen Moore.
I thought Todd Monken was an interesting one on that list.
I like it. I mean,
I like it as well.
Salah's a great shout, John.
I think they go for an offensive mind.
I think Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
Liam
Cohen? Paul?
I see Todd Monken.
What Liam Cohen's done with the rushing offense at the Bucs this year, if he could remind us why Travis Etienne was so fancied, because he's gone off a cliff this year.
Yeah.
I think
Kellen Moore.
Ooh.
What Kellen Moore's done with a lot of quarterbacks in a lot of different places, made them better. Good. In Philadelphia, that running game is fucking brilliant. I know they've got a unicorn in Saquon Barkley, but
You've still got to make it run.
you still got to make it work, haven't you?
Can we pencil in Kellen Moore to the Jags? Yeah. I like that. Anybody not really like that?
I think
it makes sense, right? Kellen Moore.
But also, this is the problem. It makes sense.
Yes.
Well, therein lies the problem. Raiders.
Fuck knows.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer.
Bringing him back.
Nick Saban.
No.
I honestly don't know for the Raiders because they're already a day behind everyone else.
We've got to get there.
Stalled on sacking Antonio Pierce. Let Antonio Pierce. Yeah, they let Antonio Pierce do the end of season press conference and then fucking fire.
If Shadur goes there, then it's Coach Prime.
I think it has to be the other way around.
Well, but it'll be agreed in advance, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, let's pencil in Prime because we'd all like to see it, wouldn't we?
No.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. Yeah, of course it will. It'd be hilarious.
For the sake that it would be great entertainment. It's like watching the Jags with Urban Meyer all over again.
That leaves the Saints and the Jets.
That is the NFL coaching equivalent of that mousetrap looks fun to put my finger in.
Oh, your finger. I wondered what you were going to put in there. It's a very small mousetrap. Saints and Jets, this is the two least attractive jobs to me.
And the Saints is more attractive.
Salary cap hell. But sure.
Everything at the Jets.
They're both
horrible.
Equally turd.
But everything at the Jets just stinks of dumpster fire.
You've got to get rid of the quarterback at both, who's earning a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you,
the one thing that makes the Saints slightly better is the ownership isn't quite as fucking mental.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? You said Rex isn't getting the job. It's just Rex who's promoting himself. Who's going to want it? If no one wants it,
this is the thing. Rex will get the job because he's the only one that wants it.
So can I pencil in Rex
today?
I want to pencil in Rex to the Jets.
Yeah, go for
I want to see it. I want, mainly because I want to hear all the Jets fans go, fuck me, the collective fuck me, as he's pronounced.
You know when the draft was always in New York, and pretty much every Jets draft would always get booed because it was never who they wanted.
Yeah,
we get to hear that collective booing when Rex Ryan is appointed.
And yet
New Jersey's going to sink into the sea.
Yeah.
And that leaves. So we haven't appointed someone at the Saints. We have to conclude this. So come on. Don't think Pete Carroll to the Saints.
No.
Pete Carroll wants a job. Pete Carroll's bored. He's sitting at home riding his stair lift up and down the stairs.
Trying to force the Pete Carroll issue.
Matt Kafka.
God.
No, I can't see that. Oh, I mean,
he's interviewing.
See, not Liam Cohen there.
No, I think
in a division that's winnable.
Well, no.
No,
in a team that end.
Yeah, but it's not a hard division. You've only got to find 3 or 4 wins from this season, and you're suddenly winning the division.
No, I think there's too much to do there. It will be the wrong decision, whatever it is.
It's not as bad as the Jets situation, but it's not far off.
Yeah, but who's an experienced coach who wants that job? Because
you're not going to get an experienced coach.
No, you're going to get an offensive coordinator who's willing just to.
It's a Nick Sirianni hire.
Yeah.
So no one had heard. Yeah, no one had heard of Sirianni before he became the Eagles head coach.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Okay, as long as we have a cord, that's fine. So we've appointed Kafka, Vrabel, Coach Prime, Johnson, Kellen Moore, and Rex.
Yep.
I'll tell you who's won the most out of that. The
Anyway,
Lions for keeping their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and possibly so. Yeah. I mean, that's some shonky positions this season, isn't it? Fuck. And we still think there may be another opening. I still think possibly the Cowboys, the Bills, if they lose.
I'm still not ruling out the Browns.
And the Browns. Wow. What's the record? The record is 9, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And that would be 9 if they go. So it's entirely possible. The Raiders today have reached out to Bill Belichick, who has rebuffed them, apparently.
Yeah, obviously. Because he's vaguely sensible.
But he's just got a new job.
A fucking job. Yeah.
He wants to prove he can win in college. That's what he wants to do. Okay. Can I have the biggest balls of the week from week 18? We didn't do that yet.
That's got to be for me, that's the Buccaneers doing what they did for Mike Evans.
See, I had that as sweetest play.
Well, actually, no.
Oh, no.
Tell you what, then I'll change it. It's...
Bucky Irvine for not fucking kneeling.
No, it was the Bills for bringing in their punter to get his...
Yes.
Punting from the 35-yard line.
To get his bonus,
Kraft for firing Mayo. I think that hurt him.
It did.
I agree with you. I think that really did hurt him.
That took some balls.
Yeah.
Especially to do it 18 seconds after the game finished.
You can tell, and the fact that he keeps coming back to it and saying, like, I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
But everything he said is right. We have made zero progress.
I feel like...
Chicken tonight?
I feel like the plan was to keep Belichick for an extra year, to give Mayo more experience. And I think things became untenable with Belichick after last year, and they had to accelerate that. The contract was in place. Kraft didn't want to go renege on that contract, so Mayo comes in. But I reckon they've always had that eye on Vrabel. I think they kind of knew this might happen. But I still think it hurt him, because I think there's a relationship there.
He's the way that they appointed him. I think he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But he's just ripped the Band-Aid.
I think it's the right thing to do.
I think it's the right thing.
No, I think the PR team ripped the Band-Aid 18 seconds after the game.
Yeah, so the Mayo firing his biggest ball. Sweetest play then. I had the Mike Evans.
The
Pierce.
The big man interception.
Big man interception.
Somersaulted over the line.
That's
the fumble pickup.
He's talking about Michael Pierce, who caught the ball and then went, fuck this. And just knelt down and everyone.
The Texans one who picked up the ball, handed off,
shoved his own player out the way,
and then somersaulted into the end zone was fucking brilliant.
Well, you've got Devontae Adams getting absolutely destroyed, because that was hilarious.
And Mike Evans.
You guys have got to pick.
Can I also put forward Will Levis's last pass in the NFL, possibly?
Which was still shit.
No, but it was an awful pass, which the receiver just kind of came in out of nowhere to grab for a touchdown.
Oh, you're right. That was really good.
It was really good.
I mean, I can't have Will Levis.
There were some funny plays this week.
One of the Penis Junior throws.
Yeah, absolutely rocking.
That's never going to age.
No,
ever.
Penises don't age.
Mine fucking does.
Yeah.
Looks like it's surrounded by smoke these days. It's fucking rubbish.
The amount of self-attention it gets.
I've named loads and I can't.
You've got to pick one, guys.
I'm going to pick Pierce because it was great.
For a man who came out publicly and said, I don't want to be made a meme out of,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm going Pierce.
I'll take that, mate.
Right,
Yeah,
Pierce.
okay. Yeah. Excellent. Right. That moves us ever so quickly to the Hall of Good. Paul, I believe you're judging.
I am. I've been sent in a submission by Gary, age 41 from Northampton.
Should probably read that one out first.
Yes.
Gary's also not 41 yet. He'd be very upset with that. He's the youngest one out of us 40-year-olds.
Yeah, he's
41-year-old.
He's only
Only just turned 40.
All right.
He was the baby of the year.
I'm younger than everyone. You know, I'm me here with my bald head. So, 40-year-old Gary from Northampton. He's put forward the catch.
Obviously.
Not only is it one of the greatest plays of all time, Dwight Clark, what a man. Also for him personally, when he went to San Francisco to a game, they celebrated this play and this man, so it's very dear to him. Historic, beautiful and enduring as the greatest play in NFL history. He didn't even need to think about it. So I'm sure most people who listen to this are niche fans anyway, but it's the game-winning touchdown reception in the 1981 NFC Championship game between the Cowboys and the 49ers, which is Joe Montana continuously rolling to the right, and then
Ran out of space.
And then Dwight Clark kind of jumping out of nowhere to catch the ball, seemingly in about No inner space.
It's made really famous by the picture, which makes
Yeah.
it look like Dwight Clark is like 12 feet up in the air. It doesn't actually jump that high.
No. But
The
the picture looks great. And
from the perspective he's taking the picture.
And the knees.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it is brilliant.
I think
It's
also
an iconic play.
it's the start of the 49ers dynasty
absolutely.
rolling, isn't it? So it has significance there. So that's Gary. So if
Cool. I like it. I like the fact he went back in history. I normally get labelled with that.
yeah, and I think I like the fact he's also spoken about what it meant for him personally.
Can I check something?
Yes.
Does the play have to have a name, or can it just be a play that you
It could be a
is
play.
like-
I think
Just
it's
be
just
a
a
Yeah,
play.
but if you told me it's like a ZR right frog.
No.
No.
But
I
if
know what you mean.
But like,
Yeah.
so I've got one, and it doesn't have a name. It's just a thing that we all saw.
Okay, hit
That's
me.
fair. I think I've got the same.
You reckon?
I don't think I'm saying I don't. Mine hasn't got a name. Yeah.
Okay, well I'll get mine out of the way. I'm fairly sure you're not going to pick it. It's Patriots related,
I didn't pick it.
but
So John,
but Malcolm Butler's interception in Super Bowl 49 to jump the Russell Wilson pass when they didn't hand off the ball from 1 yard to Marshall
literally
Lynch.
the only time I've been happy to see the Patriots win.
Yeah.
I
So it's
mean,
against the Seahawks.
it basically cemented the Patriots as a dynasty because they'd come back from years of not winning it, and all of a sudden Malcolm Butler leaps in front of a pass, something he'd done in practice because he'd seen the Seahawks do this before. No one thought they weren't going to hand off to Marshall Lynch, but I was already packing up, ready to go home. We were all watching it together, and I was like, well, how do you win this game? And he absolutely timed it perfectly, barged the receiver out of the way. I cannot remember who the receiver was, but he literally went through the receiver, snagged the ball.
I was going to say, I want to say ball.
I really can't remember. Snagged the ball, took the knee, and the game was won. And it was absolutely iconic.
He was such an unknown player as well.
Yeah,
at that point.
he was just a nobody.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
also when you say it doesn't have a name, if you say Malcolm Butler,
Yeah,
everyone thinks
everyone
of that
thinks that,
moment.
yeah.
So sure, but I mean, it's not the something bowl or the whatever. But the Malcolm Butler interception, for me as a Patriots fan, is one of the greatest things I've ever seen because it was you just didn't think they'd do that. I'm still watching it now, going, hand the fucking ball off,
to Lynch.
hand the fucking. And Marshall Lynch is on the sideline going, why the fuck didn't hand me the ball?
Richard Sherman's still sitting there going, hand the fucking
Oh,
ball.
man, Richard Sherman's face is possibly one of the greatest pieces of cinematography of all time.
Especially after the shit he gave the 49ers.
Laquette.
Who?
That was the bloke he jumps in front of.
Why would you throw it to that fella that we've never heard of? Anyway, that's my submission. Thank you, Paul.
Right.
So John, I've had meaning. I've had personal meaning. I've had steak. Give me some sizzle.
Jim, do you want to go next?
I'll go next. I'd like to let's set the scene for you.
Okay.
I'll remind you we've been here 2 hours. Go on, you set the scene.
It's February 7th, 2010, 8 days before I got married. The Sun Life Stadium in Miami. The
happiest
New
days of
Orleans
Eva's life.
Saints making their first ever Super Bowl appearance up against the mighty Indianapolis Colts, led by Peyton Manning. Saints down early, trailing 10-0 in the first quarter, but at halftime they got their way back to 10-6. Two teams headed to the locker room to listen to the Who. The momentum seemed to favour the Colts. Sean Payton, the Saints head coach, had other ideas. To start the second half, Payton rolled the dice on one of the riskiest plays in Super Bowl history, an onside kick. The Saints lined up as if it was a regular kickoff, but kicker Thomas Morstead executed a perfectly placed dribbler, catching the Colts off guard. After a chaotic scramble for the ball, the New Orleans Saints recovered it. With that single play, the entire trajectory of the game changed. It wasn't just a gamble, it was a statement. The Saints drove downfield to score a touchdown, taking the first lead of the game and setting the tone for an incredible second half. The play that shifted momentum, energised the Saints, and ultimately played a huge role in their 31-17 victory. A win that delivered the city of New Orleans its first Super Bowl title, and a moment of pride after years of hardship. Onside kick for Super Bowl 44 wasn't just a play, it was a masterclass in guts, preparation, and execution. A true Hall of Good moment, if ever there was one.
Now, I must
beautiful.
say, Jim's given me a full-on script there. Right? So, John, give me some bullshit.
So, let me set the scene. It's December the 21st, 2003. It's week 16 in the NFL season. The Saints are on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're keeping trying to keep their playoff hopes alive They're down 20-13. They're on their own 25-yard line with 7 seconds left. This is all or nothing. Then magic happens. So Brooks drops back. He throws a short pass to Dante Stallworth. He breaks multiple tackles. He's moving through the defense. He laterals the ball to Michael Lewis. Lewis, the beer man, takes it upfield and laterals it to Juice McAllister. Juice then laterals it to Jerome Paffon. He sprints into the end zone. It's 2019. It's a 75-yard touchdown with 3 laterals. It's the River City relay, but that's not why I picked it. It was brilliant. Enter John Carney. The kicker lines up. It's a chip shot. It's a routine extra point. Take it into overtime, and he misses. And I've picked it. Would you like to have the headphones? Because I've got an audio clue here. So I've picked it because it has one of the best commentaries of all time.
All sorts of incredible plays along the
I'll let
line
Boyd to you over because
for the Saints to
it's worth
stay
me hearing.
alive, pending the extra point by John Carney. And he missed.
No!
Would you like it?
I mean, I would.
Apologies to people who are hearing this twice.
All sorts of incredible plays along the line for the Saints to stay alive, pending the extra point by John Carney. And he missed.
No!
Because of the scream of Jim Henderson, the Saints radio announcer, it echoes.
It's almost as if he's just been told Darth Vader is his father.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was a 75-yard play for no reason. They don't go to the playoffs. There's no redemption. There's just heartbreak. It just screams Saints. And I've also now saved this to our soundboard. I've also just saved the no.
And he missed.
No!
So I'm going to use this so much going forward. But Paul, that is my play for the Hall of Good. It is incredible play of insane amounts of. If you watch the play, it's an insane amount of skill.
Incredible.
It is brilliant. Followed by a chip shot miss, which I think just specifies the Hall of Good.
I like these submissions, so
Hey, you've got a tough job because
so
you can genuinely make an argument for all of them.
There's pathos, there's memory, there's
emotion,
and then there's just the emotion of sport itself. So yeah, I don't envy you having to pick this.
So I'd like to summarize my judging here. So for Gary and for Griff here, I, in all good honesty of the notion of the Hall of Good, cannot pick either of your plays. The reason being, the catch, if there were a Hall of Fame for plays, the catch would be in there. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Malcolm Butler's interception, if there were a Hall of Fame for plays, that would be in there.
Sure.
That they were moments in history of the NFL. I'm going to say, in terms of where I feel with this, then it just comes down to the J initial. So, for presentation purposes, I love it, John. It's great. And you've given us a soundboard moment for life here.
Okay. It feels like there's a but.
His finger's literally hovering. He's waiting to press the button.
Don't make me. Don't make me.
But I'll tell you what it is there's so much that goes into that, and what you have is the beauty of the NFL.
Yeah.
What makes something Hall of Good for me is it's amazing, it's great, but it's not Hall of Fame worthy. And that Thomas Morstead onside kick is exactly what I was looking for. I wanted
I'm annoyed.
See, I think, and I think if Gary were here, he'd agree with me. He would say Paul's reasoning for Gary and I being pushed to one side will also cover the onside kick for the Saints.
So I tell you what it is, right? I put this into AI, and the first two it brought up for me were the catch and the Malcolm Butler interception.
Oh, really?
I
looked at
AI.
also as part of the research. I sent this to Gary. The NFL have got top 100 plays on their website, and the onside kick is on there. They've got a different play from that Super Bowl, the interception that was run back for a touchdown. But yeah, I was surprised the onside kick was on there.
I'm not a sore loser like Gary. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like, it seems fairly close. Like, it would be one of those things that should be there already.
I didn't think of it when I was thinking of plays. So the one I wanted to, if I were submitting rather than judging, I would have put Scott Norwood's field goal in Super Bowl 21.
Okay.
Which is the first of the Bills' losses. It should have been an easy field goal.
And in all fairness, my second submission was Gary Anderson for the Vikings in the NFC Championship game in '98, who'd had a perfect season as a kicker and missed. And then Morton Anderson came on for the other team and won the game. And it's like...
They talk about did the Broncos win the Super Bowl that year because they were expecting to play? Was it the Falcons?
Yeah.
They're expecting to play and if you watch America's game, they talk about that how they're all sat on the field in the training room watching it, going, "Well, it's going to be the Falcons," and like the shock of him missing.
And they still talk about that in Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's haunted a state.
Yeah,
me and Paul talked about it before the show because. I said, I've got a sound thing for mine. But I expected Beastquake or the Adele...
Beastquake was,
or the Adele catch or...
Minnesota the helmet Miracle.
Catch. But my
helmet catch.
My second choice was the 1 yard short in the Super Bowl.
Tennessee.
So,
but I've just looked, that is number 11 on the all-time plays.
Yeah.
So I think also, when you look at that Tennessee team, you have the Music City Miracle in the playoffs before there.
Yeah.
Which, there's so many things on here, but I think in terms of impact and everything else, I'm giving it to Jim here.
I think it's a beautiful win, Jim. I really do. As an aside, I misunderstood the assignment until today. I thought it was Hall of Good Moments as opposed to Hall of Good Plays. I had just not paid attention. My Hall of Good moment was the boat picture from the Giants. I was waiting to roll that out. I was like, this sums up the Giants franchise beautifully. Look what you did and look where you are now.
I mean, that sunk the franchise.
It's just a glorious moment in history, and that is where we're ending. That is where we're ending today's show because I like to leave you guys with a sour taste.
What are we doing next week for Hall of Good?
Well, you tell me. What would you like to do? You want to do?
We wanted to go back to position, didn't we?
Yeah, you want to go.
Yeah, should we go back to wide receiver?
Yeah, go on.
Sure, wide receivers it is.
I'll judge it next week.
You're judging next week. Fine. Well, somebody will let Gary know.
He'll listen.
He'll listen, of course.
Sure. Anybody got anything else they want to add before Super Wildcard Weekend?
Enjoy.
Yeah, me too. All right. See you all later. Bye-bye.